I'm Duncan MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod.
My name is Ichabod Crane.
Name's MacGyver. Colonel Jack O'Neill, SG-1.
I am Batman!
Hello, I'm the Doctor.
So there's this man, he has a time machine. Up and down history he goes, zip, 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 getting into scrapes.
For years, and maybe more than that, right, Mac? But how long has it been? Has it been 6, 7 years ago?
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
Hey, now wait a minute. Now wait just a minute.
Human beings were not meant to sit in little cubicles staring at computer screens all day.
I've got something for you.
Oh, merci, Sonor.
Just one more thing, sir.
Oh boy.
Just like that. Bing, bang, boom.
At this point, I'd settle for the boom.
They'd love it here, don't you think?
This is what I'm saying.
And by the way, where is your podcast? Tell everybody that's here.
Welcome to the Never Gets Old podcast. The podcast of all we love in TV, movies, music, and comics. With your hosts, Mac Jackson and Nathan Shell. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Facebook, and YouTube. Donations at paypal.com, at macwjackson@comcast.net.
Listen to my chapin songs, DJ saying that they're too long. His guitar may be silenced, but his soul goes on and on. Alone again, alone again. His stories were like us, a beginning and an end, alone again. Now I listen in my room, cats in the cradle in the...
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the Never Gets Old podcast, the podcast of all you love in TV, movies, comics, and music, and life and other things. I'm your host, Mac Jackson.
And I'm Nathan Shell.
So, I already know some of the things we need to discuss. Let us celebrate.
Yeah. There's a mountain of it.
Let's start off by celebrating. I remember 4 years ago having I think it was a MacGyver podcast episode, and we just had to start off screaming and ranting and raving over.
I want to say
crap.
it was a MacGyver. I think it was a MacGyver episode.
Yeah.
Because I think we made that cognitive acknowledgement that we know it's kind of off-brand for the topic of the show.
However, couldn't help it.
It was something important.
So now it's the flip side of that.
Oh, yeah.
We all get to celebrate, all of us that are sane, and I can say that because this is my podcast.
If
Trumpers don't want to listen, please don't. We won. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God. You saw my Facebook post. That's all I posted.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, God. Nothing
Yeah.
more. My mother chimed in. She said, that was all you needed to say. That was beautiful. Because I don't need to be taking shots at, people and nana or anything like that.
Yeah, no. Like, I was talking with Jess. She's not going to be the type to hold a sign in front of people's face and say ha 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 ha. You know,
right.
But she's going to give back. If someone pushes back on her about blah 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 blah, she's going to lay down the facts. And I'm taking a similar approach. If someone comes at me and says, so and so stole the election, no, there have been no documented cases of fraud. Matter of fact, the only quote unquote fraudulent cases in the whole election have been directly related to people that are affiliated with the Republican Party. So, get your facts from someplace other than, and you can't even really say Fox News because they've been I think one of their pundits or whatever was like, yeah, no, we're not going to deal with this nonsense anymore.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
They turned on him. That was great. To have Fox News turn on him and go, all right, he's nuts. Wow, good.
And I think we're going to start seeing, hopefully, kind of a resurgence of
Decency?
Old decency that classic decency in the news. Unfortunately, like I was talking with my buddy Royce about this, he goes, it just frustrates me that, you got the media that's aligned with the left, you got the media aligned with the right. What happened?
Right.
And I said, believe it or not, Ronald Reagan happened, because I did some research in it, and it was like in '83, there was something dealing with broadcasting that he got rid of, and it opened up the door for this to happen. It just took 20-ish years for it to even start. And it was right around the time Gore and Bush were running that we started to see the news media starting to lean one way or the other.
Right.
And I've often been a strong proponent of this. I don't care if the newscaster has a bias.
Sure.
Own it.
And do your
if
job.
you have a bias, own it.
Right.
Don't say, "Oh, I am so from CNN and this is how we view things." No. That's how you view things, not the news. The news is supposed to be fact.
Right.
That's it.
Unbiased, yeah.
Unbiased.
Remember, 4 years ago, though, and I'll never forget it, because I am not a political person, and I've always said this has not ever been about politics. Really isn't. Because in politics, you can go, think of any other election throughout the history of time. All right, you like one guy over the other, or, but ultimately, if your guy gets in or doesn't, it doesn't make or break anything, because there's a gray area where they they agree, even if you're kind of more this side or that side, but nobody's really going to do any damage. Any other politician sincerely tried to do what they felt was best.
Yeah.
Okay. The last 4 years has not been about politics. It's about this horrible,
it's about
immoral, disgusting human being who
he's
emboldened
the very aspects of our country that are the absolute worst qualities in us.
Right. And remember, and we said this, I believe, when we talked 4 years ago about it. I remember the day he got elected, or the day he won. The next day, all the bigots and horrible monster people went, "Oh, we're free. We can say what we nasty and horrible and bigoted, and we could treat women like crap. Yeah, America!" And that's what the last 4 years have been.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I have never felt. Boy, I have never had such a burden of heaviness on my chest and in my heart.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't mean this as we should all kumbaya. No. Well, I mean, we should, but I'm not overplaying it for one side or the other. It's just be a decent, good human being. I don't care what political party you are. But
it's
now that Biden, thank God, a decent, moral human being who gives a rat's rear end about his fellow man.
Yeah, not just, the Democrats or the Republicans. He genuinely wants to see us do better, be better.
Now all those horrible, rotten monsters can go back hiding under a hole. I know they're not going to go away, but they'll at least be suppressed and maybe learn through osmosis, or at least intolerance towards bigotry, that we can start to be good to one another again, more patient. I mean,
absolutely, yeah.
We could trade stories about walking up to our neighborhood.
Like I found out a cousin of mine that lives up the street from me. They have signs out, "Truth for Trump," Trump 2020. And what frustrates me is there's this false equivalency between Blue Lives Matter and Trump. The Trumpisms and all that stuff. The whole thing is, yes, people that are part of the Blue Lives, police officers, yes, absolutely, their lives do matter. However, keep in mind, they go into that field willingly. It's not just like they're tapped on the shoulder and said, you're going to be a cop till the day you die. It's no, that's a field that they choose to be in. Now, I'm not saying that they're not important or anything, but, you know, there's a difference between being supportive of your cops or your, you know, the cop community or whatever.
Sure.
But you can support them and still want them to be held accountable.
It's not one or the other. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
You know, and then I've told several people like, yes, I support the police, but I want them to be held accountable. I don't want this blanket immunity crap that they've been getting away with forever, you know.
Right.
But, you know, for whatever reason, those are the hills that people have aligned with. Oh, well, if you're for blue lives, you've got to be a Trump. No, you're not a Trump person, you know. Like I told Jess, I said, you know, yes, I support the police, but I want them to be held accountable because they get away with shit they shouldn't.
Sure.
You know. And like with this whole nonsense with, you know, oh, stole the election and
pathetic.
I am astounded and yet greatly amused at the memes and just the absurd way we've coped with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know, every court case he and his team have put into court
I've been laughed out of court.
Dropped.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, one of them, his own lawyers were like, yeah, we know there's no case here, but, you know, we were, you know, told we needed to do this. And they did that because they knew if they lied under oath, they would be disbarred.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the sad thing. I mean, you know, all these people are placating to him because, oh, well, you know, he's not coping with the fact that he lost. Okay, but yet when it was a Democrat that lost and people were upset, they were all mocked and made fun of. But now that the shoe's on the other foot, we're the a-holes?
Well, without getting into any of the specifics, because again, we could spend
well that, and we do have that mountain of stuff to touch base on.
But what I will say is, like, I knew my entire life, I knew Donald Trump was a scumbag.
Oh yeah,
because he is. But he was always a harmless scumbag who, yeah, he'd get an interview now and again, but it was more of a, you know, the interview's on, they're interviewing because he's out of touch with reality, but he's in his own bubble. He's not, you know, hurting the world at large. Just anybody who he deals with, fine.
Yeah, his immediate circle, as it were.
What has been the most upsetting to me, and again, this has to do now, I'm waiting for this to sweep over and get fixed, is how, you know, he's an idiot. You know, he's a horrible, horrible, immoral monster. Fine.
Yeah.
Why did 50% of the country align with him? And they're so hanging on to, well, he could still win. He could still. Are you out of your mind? And no matter what this piece of garbage does, he could urinate.
There are going to be people that think
he could urinate on the American flag, and they go, "That's our guy. That's our Trump."
Oh yeah.
I can't. I have lost. The last 4 years have taught me to lose such faith in humanity.
Oh yeah. Well, and what really astounds me is I got into a conversation with a friend on a friend's status on Facebook. He had posted a video. Hey, does anybody know if there's any truth to this? And it was the video going around of somebody burning ballots for Trump. However, doing 5 seconds worth of a search online, you'll find out that the county that those votes were supposed to be from came out and said, no, those were test ballots that somebody decided to try to throw misinformation out there. Yes, they were burned, but they were test ballots. They don't get counted because they were a way to show people how to use the ballot systems. Here's why they aren't real, because they didn't have this, and this on the freaking papers. Mm-hmm. So I relayed this to my friend. Didn't get a response. I very rarely ever expect to get a response from him because he's one of those that he never answers his phone when you call him. That type, you know. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay. Washed my hands of it. I was done, I thought. A couple hours later, I get a notification. Hey, somebody responded to your post. I'm like, oh, be still my heart. Maybe he commented, because I don't post that often, so the odds of me getting a notification of something I post, So I look at it, and it was this person that is one of those, I hate using the term Trumper, because
right,
it's somebody that is absorbed into that cult of personality, because that's exactly what it is.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, this ought to be good. And he starts going in this, that video's not fake, blah, 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 blah. There's fraud, there's this, there's that. And I'm like, okay, normally I would let it go. But he hit me on a day that I'm like, no,
I'm up for this. I'm up for bickering right now.
Yeah, you chose poorly, basically. So I'm like, you're absolutely right. The video wasn't fake. The ballots were. Oh, and by the way, as for, it was something to the effect of, people not being able to be watching the ballots being counted, which I shot that down right away. Then he went on this tirade, this little mini tirade about his deceased father having gotten multiple absentee ballots mailed to him. And I simply said, well, as far as everything with your father that passed getting these ballots, unfortunately, things like that do happen because no system is 100% perfect. Things like that are bound to happen. That being said, and then I went down the list of the states that the Republicans were setting up fake ballots, the states that are actually the towns that were being bombarded with Republicans intimidating voters. The guy up in Boston that burnt a ballot box, burning over 100 ballots. The guy here in PA that had actually filed his deceased parents' vote and got caught. And I just kept boom, 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 boom. A couple hours later, no response. I'm like, okay, good. The matter is done. Gonna fiddly fart around with the rest of my day. Not gonna worry about it. Not gonna be no sweat off my backside. Go to bed, wake up. There's a notification on my phone. I'm like, this ought to be good. And I look at it, and this son of a beep, this man, actually no, this idiot basically admitted that he didn't care. As far as he's concerned, Trump and several other people could decide that the United States of America is now a dictatorship, and he'd be fine with it.
There you go.
At that point, I shut off I shut off notifications for that post.
Yeah.
Because there's no helping that person. And as far as I'm concerned, at that very moment, that person ceased to be an American citizen, because he would rather side and align with a dictator and literally spit in the face of every person who has ever served in the military, who is currently serving in the military, or who have lost their lives serving in the military.
Right.
Which a huge chunk of my family has done that. Friends of mine, people that have had an influence on my life that I've never met. And it's like, you know what? Nope. You are quite literally the very definition of a lost cause.
Do you remember me telling you about the guy who my wife and I know that is ex-military, but he's unemployed now? He's unemployed, thank you, Trump. But he goes to all the Trump rallies, and he constantly gets his face on the news. And he's, oh, Trump, he gave us money.
I think I remember you mentioning something about it. Yeah.
The guy, doesn't matter. It's talking about this guy, Trump, spitting in the guy's face, and I'm still going, more, please. Trump, you know about the whole military thing and how a bunch of losers, he says.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's very disrespectful of the military. Absolutely.
This idiot goes, no, he didn't. Didn't say that. Nope. Didn't say. Like, you're
and
out
you
of
can
your mind.
literally, and like 5 seconds later, you can pull up like a dozen easily clips of him doing it.
Which is why I don't, and believe me, it's been difficult. I don't argue with people about that. Some people I can have a conversation with, but at one point or another, you just go, if you're still siding, again, not politics, with an immoral monster who comes right out and says it. And since he's lost the election, is more than obviously spinning off the rails.
Oh yeah,
if you could still side with that.
Yeah, and here's something that like Jess and I have talked with Ashley, because they do their podcast, and I was chatting with them, and I don't think he's going to go peacefully.
Oh, I knew that 4 years ago.
Yeah, well, yeah, you and I were talking like every horrible thing that you think or believe about Trump. I think one of us, it might have been both of us in unison, basically saying he's going to prove how true things are in regards to how people perceive him. It's not that he's this, white knight savior gonna make America better, blah blah blah. He's the exemplification of all the worst aspects of our nation. He is the stereotypical American that goes to a foreign country, pounding his chest and saying "America, woo,"
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just.
Well,
I'm at a loss.
Like I said, for my biggest disappointment is in my fellow man, you pack of morons. So I've lost so much respect for just people who 100 years ago, you'd be surprised if they acted this way.
Yeah.
But now,
well, yes and no, because 100 years ago, people still didn't wear their damn masks.
True.
How funny that history has literally repeated itself almost on an exact 100-year loop.
Right. And like, besides that, so just one for my own sanity and my own soul, I don't respond. I don't engage on anything. If you say you're for Trump, I'm done. I have to. Yeah. Because it's, again, not politics, it's common sense. And if you don't have any common sense or morals or, conscious and respect for people to go, I was wrong. Like, if you can't do that, why even go down that path? I would hate myself more. 2 weekends ago, by the way, today's Biden's birthday. So
I was going to say, I knew his birthday was in November. I couldn't remember when. So that's cool.
When he was officially 2 Saturdays ago said that he won the election, when all the votes were finally counted,
for the first time.
That was such a beautiful. There were people in the streets of New York and here in Scranton, where he was born. People are outside his house doing a parade.
Yeah. And, well, here's the question: did you feel like there was? I don't want to say a weight.
No, you're right. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Like there was like a weight off your body, and it just felt like there was a literal shift in energy.
That's what I said. For the last 4 years, I've had this heaviness of dread. And holy crap, watching the world go to crap. And I don't mean that in any sort of preachy way. It just is. To watch every day this guy lie and make up crap. Every day. And tweet and do the opposite of not even just the president, which is supposed to be such a higher standard.
Yeah.
But just as a moral, decent person. Right. Well, when Biden won, the weight, you're right. It lifted and I felt like I could breathe, and I was crying because I have Earth Cam and I'm watching New York City Times Square.
Yeah,
it's all over MSNBC and everything, and just the world felt, holy crap, this reign of terror is over.
When foreign nations celebrate
with fireworks,
that's telling. That's very telling.
And they're showing in New York City as cars would drive by, they'd honk their horns and people go, yeah. I'm watching it, and I'm just I couldn't help it. Like the tears of, I feel that anything that brings people together, and does the kumbaya thing that we're all supposed to aim for.
Yeah. Well, here's a question for you: did you watch his speech?
Of course, I did.
I didn't get to watch it live. I didn't get to watch it the next day. Jess and I watched it Monday, and 3 words. And he brought tears to my eyes. My fellow Americans.
Yep.
Not one point in the last 4 years do I recall hearing Trump utter those 3 words.
Because he doesn't care. He never cared.
And when he was rattling off, the different communities that helped get him elected.
Yep.
Acknowledging black people of color,
transgender,
indigenous people, transgender, disabled. I mean, that all the different things. I'm like,
do you feel it? You feel that? That's what you want.
Yeah, this is a man that, one, knows who helped get him elected, but two, knows the people that he represents.
What about all the videos that and he doesn't, it's one of those where he's not doing it, obviously, he's not doing it for the camera, he's not doing it for an elect me type of thing, where he's hugging people and like the people.
He's just trying to console them, yeah.
And the kid just hi, he's like, hi, and he hugs him and kisses him on the head. Like that's what we need. That's so deserving.
Yeah,
and
we need someone that wants to heal us.
It's not about an agenda. There's no agenda. There's no standing on a soapbox. It's just being a good, decent human being. And holy crap, at the bare minimum, that's what we want. I always said, besides loving everything I've seen from Joe Biden, I always said I would vote for a potato over Trump.
Yeah.
Because somebody laughed at me, oh, potato, they're not going to do anything. I said, that's right. A potato isn't going to do anything. It may not accomplish much, but it's not going to make the world worse.
Yeah, it's not going to turn us into a laughing stock. It's not going to make us incredibly vulnerable to outside influences. And honestly, that's where I'm at right now. It's like, okay, Biden won. Okay, Joe, don't disappoint me. You earned my vote.
He can't.
Now show me you were worth it. And I think he will.
But you know what? Listen, I'm telling you, even if he sat there on his hands for the next 4 years, it's never, and I keep saying this to Cindy, it will never be as bad as it has been the last 4 years.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't mean that as because I hate Trump. No.
Oh, no.
Because of the genetic anomaly and the privilege and the money, and it's like he was perfectly formed as the anti-president. So, because think about in the future, you might get somebody with a lot of money. Yeah. You might get somebody who's really stupid. You might get somebody who's really arrogant. You might get someone who makes stupid, horrible, immoral, misogynistic, prejudice. You're not going to get all of that together on, because, and I've known this, we're watching it for the last 4 years, he was never smart enough to say the right thing. He never said the right thing. So even when people are going, holy, look at this idiot, look at how wrong he is, he would double down.
Yeah, he would constantly double down. I watched part of one of his rallies because I was curious. I thought I was watching like a weird SNL skit, and somebody had like deep faked
right
Trump's face on, because he goes on and talking about how before he was elected, people would have to flush the toilet like 15 times. And I'm like, this can't be real. There's no way this is a real honest to God. Nope. That was an honest to God segment of one of his rallies. And I'm like, oh my God. This is the absurd shit that, wow. Okay.
I can't listen to a stupid voice. I just can't.
Well, no, at that point I got out of that video, but to kind of circle back to a remark I was about to say. Now we're at the point where it's like, okay, Joe, show us what you can do. I have faith in you. But because Trump's refusing to concede, he's dragging his feet, he's firing people left and right, which if you're still supporting him at this point, I'm sorry, but you're blinder than I am.
Yeah.
But what's got me concerned is the last time we had a situation where the president-elect was not being given the full security clearance briefings that they are supposed to be getting, 9 months later, we had a national tragedy of September 11th. Because back in 2000, when Gore and Bush both ran, and we had the whole kerfluffle with the Supreme Court, or the Florida votes, that delayed the results to be announced for 30 days. During that time, they had to split the security briefing team and brief both of them on what they could brief them just in case they lost.
Right.
The CIA director at the time was interviewed through one of the the talking head shows, and said that was a contributing factor as to why we were so ill prepared for September 11th, because we had to split the teams to talk to both of them, and the intel was not able to be reviewed, or had it been able to be reviewed, we wouldn't have known what to do with it because we didn't know who to talk to. That, okay, you're going to be the president, you know. And it's like, that's where I'm at. What information are we being, or is the current administration just literally letting fall through the cracks?
Right. Out of spite.
They can't just grow up and say, you know what, I lost. Al Gore even conceded at the end of it. He still conceded. And honestly, he probably could have fought it, but he still conceded.
Because that's what a moral.
That's what an honest
does.
Yeah, that's what an honest to goodness grown ass adult does.
Yeah. All right. To switch just a little bit before we drop this, couple weeks. It was Halloween. Halloween, we couldn't go trick or treating.
Right.
We were invited to go to a trunk or treat, which we were going to do. It was like a 2 to 4 type of thing, but Everly got invited to something at Roba's. That's like a tree farm, hay ride kind of outdoory thing.
Type, yeah.
Where you could get a pumpkin and it's, you know, whatever. Yeah. She got invited to a birthday party, so we were all invited, and the parents were wonderful and paid for all 4 of our tickets.
Oh, wow, that was nice of them.
Nice of them, because if you go to Roba's, you're paying out the nose for it. Like, it's one of those.
Those are expensive.
You go once a year, and you go, okay, I'm only going once a year because, 1, I've seen all I can see, and 2, wow, I felt that. So, you know, it was. We were going to have them go to that. It was at 11 o'clock, and then maybe around 2, peel off and go to the trunk or treat, because we didn't know which, you know, I said, your friend is more important. Well, we ended up having such a good time because we were one of 4 parents groups that showed up. So, you know, the kids are off playing and the grown-ups are and it was freaking freezing that day. Are standing on the fire and talking and, you know, catching up. Well, nobody's mentioned politics because you're not supposed to. I don't know if you know this, but not so long ago, it was considered improper to talk about politics.
There are 2 things that you don't talk with people about: politics and religion,
and taxes.
Well, taxes.
That's the cliche.
That's loosely tied to politics,
right? But that's how I always remember that. Like, oh yeah, religion, politics, and taxes. But you're right. You pick your battles and conversations. But okay, so we're sitting there, we're talking, we're all having a good time. Well, here comes one of the parents, and she's the type who wears a fur coat. Not to stereotype, but clearly her family are Trumpers. You know, that sort of, I wear a fur coat because nobody's going to tell me not to wear a dead animal. And my husband's and my husband is a gun-toting, you know, overall wearing Trumper, and like a cliche that you go, oh, really? Is this your Halloween costume? So anyway, she shows up, and I go, how's it going? Oh, how good can it be with wearing this stupid mask? I'm like, oh, God. Oh, yeah, hey, we have hot dogs and stuff over here. Come on, eat something. Change the subject. So I'm kind of steering away from her. Well, she said something where Cindy has been bickering with people online. I don't want to, but that's her thing. This woman says something. Cindy goes, all right, I got to go to the restroom. And she turns around and walks away. I said, okay. So while she's gone, we're standing there and we're talking about something completely different. Here she comes over, and she's the type who's poking you with the stick and goes,
she likes to pick a fight.
As one of us are ending a sentence on something completely different, she goes, what are we going to do if Biden wins? And I heard that. Now I'm trying to have a good time. I don't want to have a battle of wits with an unarmed opponent. I'm not doing it. So,
and plus, you're there to you're there to
kids.
You know, you're there for your kids. I mean, come on.
Like, you can't bully your opinion on top of people. That's the Trump way. The bully, bull, 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 bull.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm louder and talk more, that means I win. No.
Oh, yeah.
No, it doesn't.
And that's literally a page right out of their book.
Exactly. So she's trying, and I hear her say that. Nobody else heard it, but I know at the moment that the sentence ends, here it comes again. And I finished whatever I was saying. I turned to one of the other girls and said, I gotta get by the fire. I'll be right back. Okay. And I walk away and I hear, well, we can't do Biden wins. The other mother turns around, walks away, and left the other one with her. So the two of them were there, and the other one's going, oh, uh-huh. Now, I don't know how the other one feels about anything, but my nerves were raw because we didn't have the election yet. And I'm thinking, you know what? Before Biden picked a running mate, all I saw were Trump signs in people's yards and everywhere. And even now, these idiots still have their Trump signs up, which is pathetic because you might as well paste loser over it. Like, doesn't change anything. Yeah, and when Trump ran against Hillary, everybody was like, "Your person lost, give up." Okay, well, where's that mentality now? Oh, it's because the shoe's on the other foot. Right, you're a hypocrite. Right, of course. Oh, hypocrite. That's a tiny bit of all the pile of crap that. Oh yeah, there. So it's So I'm like, okay. And later on, I said to the other mother, I said, I'm sorry to abandon you, but I had to walk away. I can't politely go, oh, yeah, you're an idiot. Like, I just can't. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's easier to do now that we have currently with having to wear masks. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've made a face and can't sell it with my eyes because I'm like, have you ever looked at somebody and I'm like, what the is wrong with you? Sure, all the time. Well, a lot of times now I just have to be like, but because you're wearing the mask, you can't see it. That's the one nice thing about masks. That and wearing them while it's windy outside does actually help keep your face warm. Yeah, I know. Well, I've been going for walks every day. I have a fatty liver and whatever. But my father is so paranoid. He's always wearing his mask and he doesn't want to go anywhere and he doesn't want to eat inside a restaurant. Not that we've had that opportunity, but your dad's also, from what I understand, in that highly vulnerable. So I'm not going to blame him for that. It sucks because Christmas Eve we want my parents and my aunt and uncle to come over like they normally would. Because Christmas Day, we can't all go up to my sister's because that's just 30 people, and that's not going to happen. And Thanksgiving isn't going to happen either. But Christmas Eve, for a couple hours, come over, open gifts. Yeah. And as long as you keep it within the guidelines, and you're smart, and people are smart about it, we can make it work. The problem is people are not being smart; they're being selfish. This should have been over. This should have been over the first 2 weeks that this happened. If everybody had just stayed inside like you were supposed to. Yeah. Had people done what they were supposed to for a month to a month and a half. Sure. We would be in the same boat New Zealand's in, going months without cases. What about Sweden? Sweden's like, oh, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. And now they're in big trouble. They're hit hard. Well, my father is, and it's his way of showing that he loves me, I know. But he calls me up because I went and got my blood work done, and instead of going into the doctor's office for him to go, how are you? You good? All right, everything looks good. See ya. I just had him call me. So my parents like to look at the paperwork. They like to keep track of it because they're highly like, oh, gotta make sure your blood pressure's good. Gotta make whatever. Well, he, in his way of showing that he loves me, calls me up and goes, hey, did you take a look at this? What'd your doctor say about your pH1 levels or whatever the heck it is? He didn't. He said, I'm doing swell. My cholesterol was a little high. My blood pressure was a little high. No. Your liver, it's double what it should be. I guess it's supposed to be at 50. Well, it's at like 102 or something. I said, well, I have genetically a fatty liver. Yeah, well, you got to do something about that. Long story short, cut out all the sugar, which I don't. I'm not. I was going to say, I eat well. I eat all healthy stuff. I'm Mr. Healthy. Well, you got to get exercise. You've been home working from home, which, all right, good point. And I have gone for walks, but to appease him, I've been going on a walk every day.
Okay.
Fast walk. Because before, if you're walking with the kids, you're walking. Yeah, we'll get there when we get there, whatever.
Yeah.
First couple days, it was just me. Walk. Well, now Mikey thinks he can catch up, so Mikey's walking with me. And, depending on how cold it is how far I go.
Mm-hmm.
And also, by the time I'm done with work, it's 4:30. 5 o'clock, it's pitch black out.
Yeah, I was going to say, it gets dark quick.
So that's what I've been doing. And we've been playing the Spot the Idiot signs. People that still have their signs up. And they're big Trump flags and everything. And I'm like, if you're an idiot before, fine. But now you're even more pathetic. It's over. Mm-hmm. It's over. Just take them. You're not going to change anything. Take them out of your yard.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I'm not so much worried about what Trump's going to do now. I'm worried about the members of his cult of personality are going to do.
Sure.
Because,
that's what Cindy said.
After he was elected into office, they felt emboldened to, run wild and run rampant. Well, now that he's lost, and it's going to be confirmed that he's lost again and again and again, what are they going to do when Biden's getting sworn in? I don't think they're going to do anything at the inauguration, but what are they going to do across the country? You know?
Also, I agree. Cindy said the same thing. She goes, I understand we have to worry, though, until he's actually sworn in January. I said, true, but I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm looking forward to them dragging Trump out kicking and screaming out of the White House.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if he hangs onto a chair or a desk and goes, no.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I actually, doing a little bit of research, I found out part of the reason why he is so adamant about not wanting to leave, or about him having won, is because this happened during his time as the president, his own Department of Defense or Department of Justice basically said, oh, well, the president can get away with crimes and can't be charged while he's president. Okay, first of all, that's blanket immunity, and that's BS.
Bull crap, yeah.
You break the law, you go to jail.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And apparently that, loophole or whatever expires the moment he's no longer president, which means he's going to go to jail. He's going to get indicted. Also, apparently the man he technically has no money.
Right.
All his fortune is tied up in the name Trump.
Yes. Yeah.
He's got $400 million worth of debt.
Yeah.
Coming due.
Yeah.
January 1st. And I'm sorry, but if that was you or me and we were trying to apply for a job that involved security clearance, we would be declined that because that leaves you as a huge, ginormous security risk.
Right.
But what do I know?
But anyway, after the year that we've had, I was thinking today when I was thinking about us talking, it's time for some good stuff. It's obviously things are going to be better now.
Oh yeah.
And I on a minor note, I won the company Christmas competition quiz. Cool. There was a thing where I guess it was everybody in the department had to do this quiz, whatever. Yeah, fine, I'll take it. And then they said, okay, Mac won. I thought, oh, okay, hey, yay, whatever, that's over and done with. Right, exactly. But what happens is they roll you over into the company-wide competition.
Okay.
Which I had to do today, which is a Skype call or a Zoom call where they go, okay, is everybody on? Ready? You have to yell out your name and give the right answer. It's these two against this person against that person. Go. And they show the question and they start reading it. Oh, when it was my turn, boom, I could read it at a glance and know what they're going for. So before they would finish saying the question, I would say, got it, Mac. That it'd be things like, what color was Elvis singing about in his Christmas song? Well, I see Elvis, and boom, I know exactly where you're going with this.
Yeah, you see Elvis Christmas song, boom,
Yeah. So, long story short, they're like, all right, Mac won. I'm like, oh, all right. It was like one of those brackets. You go boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. And I thought, okay, that's nice. I thought, nice bragging rights.
Yeah,
Like,
just
all
bragging rights. Yeah, he didn't
all
take
right,
anything.
send us your email us your address. I'm like, why? Am I getting a butler? No, you're gonna send. We're gonna send you a gift card. Oh, well, that's cool.
That's cool.
So I did, and then they respond back. Where would you like it for?
Oh shit, that's cool.
Wait, well, it could just be $5. How do I know? But
Well, yeah, but still, it's a gift card to a place of your choosing.
yeah, like I said, what are my options? Like anywhere you want. Can you take me to Disney World? No. And so I thought, well, I could do food. Everybody always picks a food place.
Yeah.
You know, we have a Books a Million that I'm going to be doing some Christmas shopping in for one thing or another.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll use it for gifts. Maybe I'll get myself something. Who knows? But they said, yeah, that's fine. So that'll be coming in the mail. So that was nice. And let me see. I don't know if I showed you this last year for Christmas. You can't really see it. Well, can you? Wait. 2 seconds because I have it on the thing. Here is the digital pluggy anything.
Nice.
That, yeah, you would think. Remember I had sold my other big $200 digital recorder because you had to arm it and load it and just to turn it on.
Yeah, you had to do a bunch of stuff, yeah.
Well, the guy who would go to the open mic that I used to host had said, oh, no, this thing, it's like $80, $100.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever. It's an extra $20. Do that. You plug it in. You're good to go. You can make your own album. I made my own 2 albums. Here they are. Okay. And I got it. I finally opened it. I look at the directions. It says plug in the one thing, plug in the other thing, and go. Great. No. What they don't give you is the directions to the actual mixer like Audacity. It's like that type of thing, which you have to download. You have to register. You have to set up. There's no direction in the box. Let me show you something.
Oh, I'd be willing to bet it comes with a sheet of paper.
Here's the box.
Yep.
Here's the directions. Right? It's only for the box. It doesn't tell you about how to actually record a GD thing.
I was gonna say, nope. That does not look like directions. That looks like it's just about the box.
So, long story short, I spent many a frustrating day trying to figure out just how to record, and then I get it to record. Oh, because then you got to mess with these. You got to mess with the microphone. What's it going to play back on? You got to play it back. It sounds like the freaking chipmunks singing a choir. Like, no, and that was just me going, test 1 2, test 1 2. Oh, you son of a bitch. So I had a guy come and tune our piano. We had a piano when we first moved in here. I'm sure I told you that tale. It was free. They dropped it off, but it was out of tune. And then one of the hammers didn't. I thought maybe a string broke because it wasn't hitting.
Yeah, it was.
So that's expensive, by the way. You want to tune a piano? Yeah. It's at least $100 or $200. So we save up our money. Everly, we want her playing the piano. I'm on Cindy to come on. You're naturally great. You could be benefiting all of us if you just play. So first things first, you got to get it tuned. So I have the guy show up. It's a kid my age who looks kind of familiar. Sweet guy. Not only does he sit, he came at 2. He was supposed to be at 1:30. 2, stayed till 6:30 because we're talking now, trading music stories.
Having a conversation,
No, we're bonding. He's my buddy. We're doing great. Turns out his stepfather was Lee, the piano player who 20 years ago I played with before I played guitar.
No shit.
Yeah, remember I used to go twice a week and play till 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
I said, wait a minute. He goes, the guy who's the piano man. What's his name? I said, Lee. He goes, Strubeck? I said, you have a sister. He goes, yeah. Your mother's name is Sonia. Yeah. I said, she's my Facebook friend. Get out of here. So it's like, and I said, I remember the one day you showed up at Kill Coins and you played bass. Oh, yeah, it was my sister's bass. I'm like, whatever. I remember it. Because as I was singing, you were behind me playing the bass. Well, he takes my guitar and he adjusts it. He takes like one thing apart because the strings, I know this could be boring to people who aren't into music, but
that's all right.
The strings were essentially too high off the fret. I never would have known. I deal with it. He goes, oh, no, you want to go down 1/5 of an inch. Whatever. He does it all free. Then when he's done with the piano and I pay up, he comes in and sits here and tries to figure out what's going on, because when I did finally get it to record, it would come out like this as I was holding it. Like, I'm like, oh, why? Apparently there's something between the microphone and the system itself. It's not meshing upright.
Yeah.
So he'll be back, he says, but he's my only hope. Like, I can't do anything with this. I'd love to be here working. I have enough songs, by the way, for a full album. I finished Everly's song.
Oh, good.
Yeah. If I can sing it without crying, that'll be the next step.
I was going to say that'll be the next hurdle to.
But I finally got the music with that to match with it. I'm like, oh, this sounds really, really good. I got to get used to playing it, and I got to not cry every time I start.
And that'll probably come with time to some degree.
Well, in the meantime, I would love to be able to accomplish something.
Yeah.
I want to finish this freaking album, or at least get it started. But that's currently where I'm at with my. Everybody's always asking me, how do you do with your music? Good and bad, depending on what side of it you're looking at. Productively, I'm writing stuff. Actually having it,
executing it. You've hit a wall after hitting a speed bump.
And I also said to him, I think I said this to you, I can either be the technical guy who's going to flip a switch and knob and listen to this really get adjusted, or I could be the musician. And if you're actually recording, you don't half-hiney it. You have to do this right.
Yeah.
Well, I can't do both. I can't sit at this desk and do both at the same time. You just burn out. I'll burn out quick.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So,
and burnout is something that's extraordinarily real. I mean, anybody that doesn't think it is, they're kidding themselves.
Well, and the frustration. I don't have the patience to, like, he sat here and he knows what he's talking about. He knows this, what's it called, a presonus. He knows all about it. Great, come back. Because he's like, I don't know why. We'll have to try some stuff. It could be your headphones. Like, but I'm getting new headphones, I hope, for Christmas. Because these don't work because the end of them isn't the plug. It's the thing that goes into the computer, the USB.
Gotcha.
These little suckers, look at how flimsy these are. Well, these do have. I had to get what do you call it?
Adapter.
Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. See, you're such a good co-host. There's the adapter that goes on this little son of a bay.
Yep.
Okay, but these suck because these are from the 80s.
I was gonna say those are straight out of the 80s. The only thing they're missing is like orange cushions.
Exactly. So there's that. Oh, Mikey. By the way, he's going to listen to this as soon as I post it.
Oh, cool.
He loves when it's you and me.
Oh, I bet.
He likes anybody else. Oh, a special guest, whoever. But he's like, you and Nate are doing one? Let's go. He's so pumped because he loves our natural friendship and conversation.
Oh, and it's the familiar banter.
Yeah.
Like our banter doesn't seem forced. It's not.
We can cut through the bowl and
yeah.
But he has turned the corner as a guitar player. No longer do I need to tell him, Mikey, go upstairs, go practice. Yeah, he's up there every free second. He's up there at the guitar, and like I show him, I'm teaching him how to play a song, but then he'd get to like a bar chord, which you have to put your finger out. It's the worst ones. Once you tackle that, you can call yourself a guitar player. He's like, I can't do that. I can't do that yet. I said, yes, you can. He's up there. His hands are jumping around. He's remembering all the complicated crap. He's sounding really good. He has to get his rhythm a little better, and he has to not have the strings buzz, but that comes over time.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's all stuff that you, I don't want to say grow out of, but you grow beyond.
But God love him, I couldn't ask for him to work at it harder. All on his own, he is doing it. I am so proud of him. He loves when I go up and because I have my guitar here, but I also have the nylon string upstairs, which is the one type that he uses. We'll just sit there and I'll go, here, try this and here, and talk about it. It's wonderful.
Well, yeah, and it probably helps that, now I've never watched you, show him or teach him or anything, but hearing the way you, retell, what have you, it's not, oh, you got to do it this way. It's like, no, here, I'll show you. And then you can, it's that innate ability to teach without being preachy.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And he knows that. He knows everything I do is in his best interest.
Yeah. And it's not like, you're going to, scold him if, if one day he, is tired from school or whatever and he doesn't practice it, he'll get to it.
I don't even have to do that anymore. He's
Exactly.
on his own. I used to.
Sense.
It got to a point where I said, Bud, if you don't want to play guitar, I'm not going to keep asking you. If I have to feel like I'm badgering you, this isn't fun. You're missing the point of it. And a lot of people want to play guitar, but they don't have the discipline to do the hard work. But once you get over that hump, you're golden.
And the patience.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks, oh, well, I'm going to be amazing right off the gate. No. One in 1,000, 1 in a million might be, but
and it's frustrating too in the beginning because you have to. I have to do this stupid chord, and I don't know how to. I can't switch really quick. It's the most unpleasant part is right in the beginning because you don't even have the calluses or whatever.
Yep.
He's gone beyond that to where he's hungry for it. Like,
oh no, and that's fantastic.
And Everly with her piano playing, she's good. But I told you about her harmony, right?
I'm not sure if you had or not.
Next time we're together, if you have another get together, or if you guys are, I was thinking about this time. Like, I know it's pandemic time, but if you guys ever want to come down on a Saturday, I would love that. Just because, one, I'd like to show off my place, but also get to see you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one straight shot down, 81?
I think that's what you said it was, yeah.
Yeah. You can't go wrong, and I'd love to have you. But I digress. Next opportunity I have, you have to hear her sing. She naturally does harmony, which she gets from her mother, because her mother is the same way. But for the last couple years, I'm playing something. I'm doing a Angels from Montgomery. And I'm playing it, and I look over, and she's singing the chorus, harmony. And I go, do you know you're doing harmony? No, I heard Mom do it. And she does it. Now we start doing Beatles songs. We start doing I Won't Be the Same Without Her, which is a Monkees Mike Nesmith song. You pick it. As soon as she learns it, she's doing the harmony.
Oh, wow.
She's amazing. And it's great because I'll fill up. I would be singing that, and I'll just stop strumming and sing like the chorus to Angels from Montgomery. And to hear her in sync, and we'll make eye contact. We have that bond where we're in sync.
Yeah.
And she can watch how my pacing is. Tears. I'm like, baby, singing with so beautiful. And it's not because I'm a father or just because I'm a father. It's because I'm watching this little girl nail it.
Oh, yeah.
And music, as you know, it is so moving. And it's so pure at that moment. And so we're just, all right, what's the next one we could do? Which next? And she's learning. I know I'm bragging, but she's so freaking impressive.
And you know what? That is your right as her father.
I'm dying for you to, I've had her sing for the neighbors and our friends. As a matter of fact, we went to go see our friends, Bob and Renee, about a month ago with the mask and all. But then we were sitting outside and 6 feet apart and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Back when it was actually still nice out. And this conversation comes up. I said, Everly, here we go. And without it, I just, life is hard. And she's doing the high harmony. And we're watching each other. I look, and Renee, our friend, tears. She's like, you guys just staring at each other. I'm like, I know. I'm so impressed with these kids.
Yeah. No, that's great though.
Oh,
that is really great.
yeah. I honestly. Hey, by the way, I still want to get a sweatshirt just like that. Your Daredevil one. You know how I love it. I love my Daredevil. Love it, love it, love it. I'm always looking for it, but they're always, I mean, if I ever see them, they're expensive.
Well, when conventions become a thing again, I'll have to get the size that you wear, and I'll have to see if I can wheel and deal and see if I can get you one.
Large. Man's large. There you go. I would love that because, anything Daredevil or Batman. By the way, look what I got.
I saw your pictures. I think you posted them on Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
That's pretty sharp looking.
I'm thrilled. I had a
meanwhile, my wall behind me is just looking kind of blah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Of course, that's the windows outside. So
I was gonna say the boxes show that you're in the middle of being productive, so that's always a good sign too. But with this, I got a coupon for doing like a TeePublic survey. And I have them available on Redbubble and TeePublic for anybody who wants one of those snazzy posters for themselves. But I did their survey, and there's a sale too. So there's a sale plus my 20% of a survey or whatever it was. Plus, you get your own part of your money back because you're the guy who.
Yeah, because it's your account or it's your.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm getting myself a poster. They come in extra large. That's a large.
That's the large.
That's the large. I could have gotten an extra large. That's a 24 by 36 or something.
Yeah.
And you see how
that's a standard movie, or that's a standard poster.
Movie poster.
But that's the large?
That's the large. They come bigger. Yeah, they come bigger. And I thought, should I go extra large? No, because I did the measurements and I ran over to the one that's over here used to be here. I used to have the Stargate one.
I thought it had moved, but I was like, it's been a while since we've done this. So.
I took the Stargate one, put it here, took the KT Tunstall one I had, flipped it, sorry, KT, and put that on the back of it. And yeah, I mean, the white area is just the extra.
Yeah.
But I lined it up good enough that it looks like that's how it should be.
Yeah, it looks like it was done on purpose.
Well, sure enough, a couple people went, I'm getting one, and they started to order them. So that was nice. And then out of the blue, thank you, whoever did this. I get a notification in my mail. Somebody here, you made a sale. I'm like, great. So let's see. It's a Redbubble. Okay. I bet you they're getting a poster or they're getting a shirt because everybody loves that design.
Yeah.
And I uploaded a new collage too that I think people are digging. But this, that wasn't what I was looking for. They said, you got to make a sale. So I look, somebody bought a dress of the thing I said where if you don't know who these artists are, there's nothing you can teach me about music. And within it, I have all the big music names that people should know. Somebody bought a graphic.
Or at least have a passing acknowledgement of having heard, yeah.
Yeah. Graphic tee dress. So it's a t-shirt material, but it's a dress.
I was going to say, it's probably what most people would call like a summer dress or something like that.
Yes. They also bought an A-line dress.
Okay. That's...
of that design.
Okay. Wow. That's cool.
God bless you and love you. I make $5 for both things.
Hey, still.
It's not even about the money. It's never been about the money. It's about putting something out there that people will enjoy.
Yeah, it's about something that somebody was interested enough, like, you know what? I want to wear that.
Yeah. And you know that somebody's going to walk around in two different dresses at two different times.
That's cool.
Whew. I mean, I'm amazed. I'm always so thankful to people who, let me give a little shout out too while we're here. We have a new Patreon follower.
Oh, okay.
as much as I write blogs, people, I don't know how many people are reading them, but nobody's been donating. Well, one person has started to, and I want to give her a shout out as soon as I find her name. Okay. I'm sorry, Marion, if I butcher this. Her last name is Vatslag. Vatslag. She was so sweet. She loves both podcasts. And it said in particular, she loves the audio series.
Oh, very cool.
Because she goes, I don't know how you're able to capture the attitudes and the dialogue.
It's because you're inherently, or it's because you're acutely aware of the source material. It's not like you just picked it up and like, I'm going to throw these characters in together. You are very familiar and very aware of the people that you're writing.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. And yeah, I hear their voices. Like I'm writing chapter 11, episode 11. I'm almost to the end. So everybody who's been patient, it's coming. By the way, she's from, I just had it. What the heck? She is from Norway.
With a last name like that, I would believe that.
Well, I said, listen, the deal is you make a donation, you get some pins. Mm-hmm. And first she's like, well, thanks, but it's a long way to travel for pins. I don't want to put you out. I said, you just supported me. I'll send you 2 pins. Yeah. She wrote back. She goes, I got them, and I love them, and they're in places of honor, and one's on my purse, one's on my backpack. I'm like, see? Fills my heart. It's not about the money. It's about the connections. Like, people care.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, that made my little heart happy. Because, again, I try to make sure that I'm paying attention to all our outlets. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I need to write a blog.
That's with Jess and Ashley doing the Studying Scarlet podcast. They, my job is behind the scenes. I edit. I did the little narration for the beginning. I did a little narration for the outro, and that's it. That's my contribution in front of the microphone.
Sure.
I enjoy doing the podcast editing, although there are several times where I'll text them in the group chat that we have, what the hell is wrong with the two of you? Because they're talking about topic A, and then it shifts to B, and all of a sudden they're in F, and I'm like, how did you go from here to here?
Yep.
I don't get it.
Yep.
Well, do you want me to leave it in, or do you want me to take it out? No, leave it in. That's part of our personality. That's part of why people enjoy the podcast. Okay? Every now and then they'll be like, I said this during the recording of the episode. Could you please make sure to edit that out? Mm-hmm. Just in case it might be something that might upset somebody. Because it's like an offhanded remark or whatever. I'm like, okay, no worries. I can do that, And it's nothing ever really super taboo. It's just something that, depending on who's listening, might get upset by it.
Sure.
Like, okay, no, I can understand that. I mean, and it is marked as explicit anyway because they're talking about death and murder. I mean,
sure.
But it's entertaining listening to the two of them because when they're here recording, I'm in the living room playing a video game or watching a movie or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then actually actively listening to them as I'm editing, going in and taking out the long pregnant pauses and, here's an area where they flubbed, take that out. If they regain their composure or whatever. And it's entertaining, and I'm super proud of them. But yeah, they've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all locked down. They're on the ball with that stuff. And
I know, because I'm either recommending them on Twitter, mm-hmm. or I'm seeing they beat me to it. Somebody makes the mistake of saying, I need podcast recommendations. Boom. I'm on that too.
I have to laugh. I just had it.
I was just saying about.
It'll come back to me.
Probably as I tell you, I always see them. They'll get ahead of me because I will try and, especially if they say, I'm looking for true crime. Boom! I start typing that name, but now I've learned to actually scroll to see, did they already get there first?
Yeah.
You know, because you said Jess's partner there is the one who typically.
Yeah, Ashley. Yeah.
She's on the ball.
Oh yeah, she has said she has learned more about Twitter than she cares to know.
Mm-hmm.
Just because she's very, that's her focus.
And it's also the quickest way to constantly, like, you see all the original art that I'm doing.
Oh yeah,
with the crossovers and stuff, and I'll just put the Forever Adventure Network as the watermark on the bottom, because unless it's Jack and MacGyver, that I'll say MacGyver SG1. But anything else, I always put the site name.
I mean, and it works.
It works. But boy, I don't try and push it on anybody. But if somebody says, I'm looking for an exciting thing to listen to.
Yeah.
And you could put 4 pictures, so you're getting 4 different pictures.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting with them. They do, they essentially do deep dives, be it the true crimes, be it the fiction stories. They do a deep dive. They will go over trivia if it's a film or if it's a fictional story. But if it's real, I mean, goodness, they did Martin Luther King. They did a Martin Luther King episode, which I think that was only a one-parter, or that was only one part.
They did H.G. Wells, or not H.H. Wells.
H.H. Holmes.
Holmes.
Yep.
Yep.
They did that, which that technically bled into a second part, but it wasn't exactly H.H. Holmes. It was, it was the American Ripper series or whatever, But they did 2 episodes on Robert Kennedy's assassination during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
They just finished recording, and I've got it scheduled out. 2 episodes for John F. Kennedy. Oh no, the second part just aired this week.
Mm-hmm.
John F. Kennedy,
mm-hmm.
And like they go. I don't know where Ashley does her research. Like I know she rattles off all the research that she does, but that woman is probably on like NSA's or CIA's like watch list, because she's probably like one deep search from like finding like buried information that we are not know. Like she finds some of the most insane stuff out about these cases. It's astounding. And what kind of frustrates me is like with the H.H. Holmes one,
mm-hmm.
they did like an hour and a half, 2 hours content on this, but then there are other people out there that'll do 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Sure.
That's barely enough to scratch the surface.
Yeah, when you get into him, he's fascinating. I watched after I'd listened to somebody's podcast, last podcast on the left, I think it was. They did one on him. It was a multi-episode one because you have to, because it's too fascinating.
Oh,
I caught a thing on TV where it was like an hour long. I'm like, why? Wait a minute. They're not talking about his childhood when he pushed the kid down the well just for fun. Wait, you're not talking about how he failed out of medical school and would get all these things that I knew.
Yeah.
I knew too much to appreciate a shortened version of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's just, it's wild. Like I'm sitting here watching, not watching, I'm sitting here listening to the episode while I'm editing. And a lot of times I'm like, oh shit, I got to go back. There was a pause there, or there's a flub or whatever. But it's just wild. It's absolutely wild. The fiction story that was dropped today's Friday, was Terminator 2. It was a Fiction Friday, and they focused on Terminator 2.
I remember the Scranton Strangler.
Yeah. And, well, funny enough, that popped up on Facebook or Instagram because Ashley got the Strangler pop.
Yep,
and just
saw that.
I'm going to use this to promote a past episode. I'm like, that's brilliant. That's a great way to do it, But while I'm sitting here listening to the Terminator episode, because it was Ashley and a guy named Josh from another podcast, because Jess was busy when they were going to record, or when they were going to record it. So they recorded it, and they recorded it very much like you and I through Zoom. And it was interesting listening to her banter with someone else. And I mean, they meshed very well. So I have a funny feeling he's probably someone she's chatted with on Twitter.
Sure.
Because she's very busy on Twitter and everything. But it was entertaining because I'm sitting there thinking of stuff like in my head, like, oh yeah, they did this scene because Linda Hamilton had, at the time, unfortunately, her sister has now since passed, but she had a twin sister, so that's how they did some of the scenes. And boom, right there he is with. I love this guy. He had the wealth of knowledge, and there were even a couple times I'm like, okay, I don't recall that, or I don't think I knew that. Even he was pulling stuff out. I'm like, huh, okay, I like this guy. He's cool. So it's just very interesting having somebody like doing or listening to the podcast episodes you've done with other people. It's interesting having that pool of knowledge that people are pulling from that you might not necessarily have had.
Right.
But I have to laugh before we go into another topic. I'm sure he had shared what he thought would have been a really cool alternate ending for Terminator 2, and I'm like, that's a brazen idea. And had they done that, I think I would have been okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. We all know how Terminator 2 ended. If you haven't, go rent it. Go pick it up. Arnold goes down. But this Josh guy's idea was, how cool would it have been after they knocked the T-1000 into the molten steel? It's the Terminator there. I think he was a T-800 or T-100, one of them. Fudge! I just completely drew a blank on the character's name. John Connor and Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
Are standing there, and John's emotional because he doesn't want his friend to go, and even, she's a little, hesitant because, she's grown to accept him. The Terminator grabs John and dives in because his programming
reverted,
and he still ended up killing him. I screamed. I'm here at the house by myself with the headphones on, and I'm listening. I'm like, whoa, dude, what the?
Well,
like, that's horrible, but also kind of badass because nobody would have expected it.
Well, you have to read the RoboCop Terminator crossover. That's fantastically twisted.
Really?
Oh, it's so good because it doesn't go. You figure, all right, they're going to fight, blah, 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 blah. In the end, RoboCop's going to win and Terminator's going to lose. The way they do it is so freaking good because you're like, ooh, that's just only the first issue. And I won't spoil it, but yeah, definitely get reading it. Because I'm home, working from home, I can watch certain things. So I've been catching up on movies and stuff. I've been watching some Longmire.
Okay. Yeah.
But I've also watched the most recent Terminator movie. Now I didn't see Genesis or whatever the heck they call it.
I think it was called Genesis. Yeah.
Well, Genesis it should have been, but the way they pronounced it or spelled it was Genesis. Anyway,
they were trying to be Terminator-y with it or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't see that one yet. Genesis. Anyway, it's gonna bother me. I saw the newest one.
Dark Fate.
Linda Hamilton. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Oh yeah, and with the way they started that's what I got. Yeah.
And this is when you said that, I'm like, wait, that we saw kind of that because it is an alternate timeline. It doesn't change Terminator.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's interesting. Like my niece, when we went and saw Terminator Genesis or Genesis,
is that worth seeing? By the way, should I waste my time?
It's not bad. If you can find it, check it out. The problem I have with it is the major reveal in the film was ruined by the trailers. And that even like that infuriated the director. It's like, why would you have included this scene?
Right. The payoff.
The trailer?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be the oh shit moment.
Right. It's the only one out of them that I haven't seen. And I love the third one because holy crap, it's actually happening.
Oh yeah.
Terminator didn't come back to save you. He came back to make sure you guys got in this bunker because it was going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I have to laugh. Like, my niece had gone to see that with us because we were doing a double. Jess and I decided we were going to do a double feature. We wanted to see that and Ant-Man.
Sure.
And my niece wanted to see Ant-Man, but she wasn't certain on Terminator. I said, well, if you want to go with us to see Ant-Man, which we were going to pay for her birthday, we're going to go see this movie. Now, technically, we paid for her, but because the theater we go there frequent enough, we had earned free movie tickets. So Terminator, we saw for free regardless. But so we're sitting in the theater, and she's like, well, I've never seen any of the Terminator movies because at the time, she just didn't get around to it. I said, well, the Terminator movies, technically, it would be beneficial to see all of them to get an idea for the universe. However, realistically, Terminator and Terminator 2 really only have those are the ones that I would consider have the main continuity. Anything from there, the timeline, each movie adds a splinter in the timeline.
Right.
So they kind of like do their own thing and not mess with the continuity, And technically, Dark Fate could easily tie back to Terminator 2.
Well, that's what they say. They say that it takes place immediately after Terminator 2 and ignores all the movies after it.
Yeah, because alternate timelines.
Right, which, hey, in that type of franchise, I have no problem with you doing that because it's a time travel franchise. So therefore, let's see what would happen if that happened. Let's see what happens. Great. Yep. Love it. Fantastic. So saw that one. And because it was Halloween, my little darlings want to watch Halloween movies. I finally got to see the original Poltergeist.
Okay.
And had to watch before that the remake because for whatever reason, my sister a couple years ago for Mikey's birthday got him the R-rated Poltergeist movie. He didn't ask for it. He didn't have any inkling towards it, but she probably would. I don't know. He'll like that. That's how she shops. I think they'll, you know what I mean? So I had
got a kid on the cover. He'll like it.
Yeah, it's a clown. So I had to watch it before he did, and it's really good. But I had never seen the full original. So the family sat down and watched it. I also watched a few Halloween movies.
Okay.
I watched the newest one with Jamie Lee
Curtis. The
yeah.
most recent one, yep.
Fantastic, which, again, acknowledges the first two, but nothing after that.
Yep.
Fine. But I also wanted to go back and see H2O. Remember how big? Because that was Scream is big. We could do same company too. We could now do a Michael Myers movie and have it be like that, which you could tell they were going, we have to do the jump scare like they do in Scream and have.
Well, it's funny. Jess had actually sat down and went through and watched the entire franchise again, which she normally will watch Halloween, Halloween 2, and that's it. Now, of course, with the 2018 Halloween, she'll watch that one too, or 2019, whichever year that came out. She'll watch that one too. But the other ones, Halloween 3, that
has nothing to do with Michael Myers. It's
and then Halloween 4 and 5, they deal with the one kid potentially being of Michael Myers, little girl potentially growing up to be a serial killer type thing. And then I think it was 6 with Paul Rudd, who I'm convinced does not age.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what kind of deal he made, but...
Well, now, wait a minute.
Because I think... Wait, was it 5 or 6? I've only caught bits and pieces of them. I've only realistically seen four of the films.
Right.
So
H2O is great, and it gives you a definitive ending. She chops his head off.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Fine. Nice. Then they made a money grab and did the next one, which was, it starts off with her in an insane asylum because she found out that the person whose head she chopped, they backpedaled and tried to it wasn't the real Michael Myers, and they pulled off the mask and she killed an innocent person. Well, within 5 minutes, Michael Myers shows up and kills Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yep.
No.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
No, because then the rest of the movie is a B movie, low budget movie where it's kind of taken from the Blair Witch, where everything's going to be done. We're filming through a camera. We're all going to go to this haunted house. Isn't this fun? We're going to spend the night in a haunted house. Michael Myers shows up and just picks them all off. Whatever. It was garbage. It was complete garbage. Anyway, I also saw the Rob Zombie one.
Okay.
I don't like Rob Zombie. We've been watching as a family History of Horror. There were 2 seasons. It just ended the 2nd season because of Halloween time. And it's neat because it either celebrates movies you already know or maybe piques your interest in franchises or movies you've never or heard of. And Everly does a little dance with the creepy music in the beginning. Okay. She was Wednesday Addams for Halloween.
Oh, very cool.
And Mikey was Jack O'Neill.
Of course.
Yes. Anyway, so I happened to catch the beginning of the Rob Zombie one. Now, Rob Zombie movies are over the top, gross.
Yeah, they're blood, guts, and gore.
Yeah, and to hear him talk, I'm like, I don't like you as a person. I don't like your views on the world. You're very dark and negative, and you know. Anyway, I watch his Halloween, and it's really, really good. It's really, really good. Now, granted, he has to do his boob shot.
Yeah,
in the beginning.
Yeah, he's got the hallmarks of his directing style.
Yeah, but they they spend a lot of time in the first half of Michael Myers as a kid, showing how creepy he was right from the beginning. His stepfather was terrible. His mother was a stripper. His older sister was a whore. And
he delved into explaining his backstory to give an explanation as to why he was.
It was the best part of it. They had McDowell there was the or Malcolm.
Loomis.
Yeah. It was fantastic because besides the murder stuff they did as a kid, then they show him being talked to, and he's this ugly, creepy little kid. And it's funny, the most boring part was when he was an adult and he escapes. So now you're watching the second half, stab, 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 walk around, kill, 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 which doesn't fly. It never flew for me in the 80s when all those movies, slasher movies, were out. I never cared about Freddy or Jason. But the first half of it is so good because it's disturbing.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I'll give you credit for that. That was very well done. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, with Jess, she didn't care for the Rob Zombie film, mostly because what made Michael Myers terrifying was there was no explanation. It's that,
and there was no face. You never knew what he looked like.
There was one scene in the original film we saw his for 1 second, but and I agree. I do tend to agree with her. Having the explanation is nice because it's understanding the madness behind the mask, so to speak. But not knowing is more terrifying.
Well, one of the things they said during the History of Horror was bull crap to it being his sister. They didn't plan that in the first one. That was something they created in the second one. The thing that made it so terrifying was that it was just a random person. Yeah. It was a random person.
They touched back on that in the most recent Halloween film.
Right.
I love that. Now, I am curious to see, because the team behind the 2018 or 2019 Halloween movie, they did, I think it was 2018, they did film 2 more Halloween films.
We were talking about, there's one that is due out next year that Anthony Michael Hall is in. It's called Halloween Kills or something like that.
Yeah. And then there's a third one, and Jamie Lee Curtis and the family unit from that one are all back.
For the next 2?
For Halloween Kills and whatever the third one's going to be called.
Wow. And
Halloween Kills takes place right after the previous one, where they're riding off in the back of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it starts.
Cool. That's Good.
So, and I like seeing them do stuff like that. That's the type of storytelling, I think people like. Yeah, having the time jump between films is nice, and it helps explain things away and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But it also ends up opening up the trappings of, oh, well, enough time's passed, we can get away with doing whatever we want. Yeah, but there's that suspension of disbelief that you have to play with.
I also this year started to see, for me, I don't need nudity I don't want the kids to have to see anything that's nudity or language that's so gross and over the top. Like, okay, my kids know not to say the F word. They know not to curse. They're good people. I don't need to worry about them. So they can hear it, and I know it's not going to affect them. Now, if they get gratuitous with language, then I don't need – not that they can't handle it, but why burden them with that weight? So I thought, wait, there's certain movies that I can show them, at the very least him. And so I showed him Blair Witch. Blair Witch Project, which I watched the sequel Blair Witch that just came out last year or so. That's good. It's the brother of the girl, Heather.
It's the brother of the girl, yeah. And I saw an ad for that pop up recently, and I'm like, I've seen this film. This isn't new. Here it got reshared or whatever, and it just new. And it's like, no, that's a couple years old. I like how they filmed it. I like how they integrated technology of today in it. Like, oh, well, we're going to use a drone to try to find out.
Yeah.
And that was cool.
Showed him that. Showed him Paranormal Activity. Is that what it is? One of them. Not the first one, but, whatever. It's one of them. The
Paranormal Activity films, that's a franchise that Jess and I both enjoy. I like it because while I'm watching it, you know me, I'm like, okay, how did they pull that off? You've got Paranormal Activity.
There's like 5 of them now, I think.
There's 6.
6, there you go.
Yeah. And if you watch them in release order, timeline-wise, it gets confusing because you're watching them in the release order. But if you watch them in chronicle order, it's 3, 2, 1, marked ones, Paranormal Activity 4, and Ghost Dimension.
I showed him the one where it's Christmas time. The brother shows up. Which one?
That's Ghost Dimension.
That's what they called it, Ghost Dimension? And the hole opens up above the girl's bed?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. That's the one we saw together.
Yeah, that was the most recent one. Now, with those, like I said, I like sitting down and like, okay, how did they manage this shot? There's 2 shots in the third one, which the third one takes place in the 80s when Katie and her sister are little girls, like probably close to, actually no, probably younger than your kids. And there's a sequence where the guy had taped a camcorder to an oscillating fan. Like he popped the fan off.
I think I saw that.
You might have seen it or seen parts of it. But the fan oscillates back and forth, and it has that build-up tension.
Yeah. Just pay attention. Something's going to happen.
And then, there's a babysitter at the house, and she's sitting there at the kitchen table, and there's a kid in a blanket behind her, like the whole ghost, ooh, And all of a sudden, the sheet drops.
And there's nothing there.
And I'm like, okay, I'd like to know how they managed to pull that off.
Yep.
Because there was no trapdoor, I'd like to know how they did that. Well, later on in the movie, the fan's doing the oscillating back and forth because it's the same room. The mom comes home, and she's standing in the kitchen, and she's like, what what? Nothing's in the kitchen. And then all of a sudden, everything drops.
Huh.
Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, they probably had everything suspended. It was probably a soundstage, and they had everything up. And then, okay, she's in the safe zone that they can drop everything,
Yeah.
But it's one of those that it's a franchise that you wouldn't think they could have that much play with.
Sure.
But they've done a really good job at playing with their continuity a little bit, but still giving a fairly solid story.
The other one I showed him, which
What's
is
that?
great. One of my all-time favorites, The Mist.
The Thomas Jane one.
Yes.
That's
Uh-huh.
one that will mess with your head.
When it was over, let me tell you. Now, I knew I loved it.
Mhm.
And I figured Mikey would love it. When it was over, Everly had walked in while we were watching it and got hooked.
Mhm.
When it was over, she's staring at the screen.
Mhm.
And it ends the way that it does.
Mhm.
And the credits roll. And I'm not exaggerating. She didn't blink or turn her head for like 3 to 5 minutes. She didn't turn to look at me. She didn't turn to look at anything. She just let it sink in.
Mhm.
And she had to digest it. And she just went. And eventually she turned and looked at me like WTF type of look.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's why that's a great movie.
Yeah. And it's one of those, it's twofold, because if you think about it, the McBride lady, the one that goes running out of the grocery store, we see her for a brief moment on the back of that transport with 2 kids, and it's just that.
How did she do that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, son of a, that's one of those, you're watching the film, you know, it's the, and just as you think, bam, right in the gut. It's like, oh,
that's the worst.
Why?
Yeah, and I saw that before I had kids. So, now to have kids, and it
resonates differently.
I think I told you this before. I don't know, but I don't know if it's because I have kids or what. I am so emotional now. Like, I am so sensitive to. They do a thing on the Today Show where it's the happy moment, or Hoda's happy bouncy moment, or I don't know what it's called, but it's just here's a film of a kid who hasn't seen their grandfather since the pandemic started, and it's showing the grandfather show up, and the kid runs, Grandpa. I'm tears. Every day. I'm like, gee, I understand emotions, but man, I am super quick to cry now.
Well, yeah, it's that empathy.
It also might be the fact that the 4 years have been so god awful that any sort of happiness or kindness towards each other is so refreshing and
absolutely
a valve opening.
Yeah, and that very well could be a huge chunk of it. But yeah, I'd watched, if I can find it, I'll have to send it your way. It was a thing on YouTube, 10 horrific moments in film, and it wasn't strictly horror films that this channel had done. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. That is, and I think that was like 2 or 3 on the list.
I'm sure a scene from Willy Wonka had to slip in there too, because if you watch that, you go, "Ooh, that is actually terrifying." At moment.
Oh yeah, that was a terrifying sequence, but I don't think that was actually on that one. That's been on the list. That's been on list galore.
Just him in the thing with the colors and he's singing and everything.
Well, and the fact that they didn't tell anybody in that scene. They knew something was going to be going on, but they didn't exactly know,
Exactly. Yeah. And they're all just reacting to him. Well, like I said, I'm trying things out. I'm, because I'm sitting here during the day working, and if I'm not overwhelmed, I can kind of pay attention and watch certain things. I watched, some of it was from the list that they had recommended. There was one called Hereditary.
Okay.
Not as great as the way they described it.
That's one that Jess was like, that I could. I
had creepy moments, but in the end, you're like,
I'll see that again.
Yeah. We have to talk about Kevin.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
I saw that news. Yeah.
Okay. That is, first of all, and again, I'm looking at it as a parent. She was a horrible mother right from the beginning. She was terrible. But in her defense, not that she deserves one, that kid was a little SOB right from the beginning. It wasn't like nature versus nurture. This kid was a bad little you-know-what. No matter who she was, he was wacko.
Yeah.
But you watch it, and I'm like, oh, that's... Through the whole thing, it's tough to watch because, case in point, if I see a kid get slapped or screamed at where the kid just cries like a baby is crying, I can't do it anymore. I'm too empathetic towards that poor kid, whether okay, if the kid's a little bad, you know what, I'll go, okay, then the kid had it coming.
If the kid does something that's like, okay, that's a
consequence,
that reaction is warranted,
but there's a show called American Monster, one of those crime shows that on the ID channel that I love to watch, and I happen to catch it, and they show American Monster is the basis is we're going to talk about this guy, but we're going to show you footage of this family, of them home movies. So that way you go, little did they know that the father was out killing hookers or whatever, and it shows this little kid playing in the dirt at a family. They're all outside. And I don't just mean mom, pop, sister, brother. I mean like a family, aunts, uncles were over.
Yeah.
They're having a picnic in the backyard.
Like a small family reunion or something.
This little boy, 1 or 2 or whatever, maybe not 2, playing in the dirt, reaching down, going blah, 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 blah. Instead, just go, okay, don't do that, sweetie, okay? The father goes, no, and slaps either his hand or his rear end. And it was like an overreaction of no. And the kid goes, ah, and I lose it. I can't watch. It's the fact that I remember it months later. I want to hug that kid. And I'm like, don't do that to that little baby. Yeah. So I'm an emotional wreck. And so to watch these movies, first of all, we have to talk about Kevin. The kid gets a sandwich. The mother makes a sandwich. The kid goes and dumps the upside down. Peanut butter and jelly, squish. Oh, a bowl of something, throws it at the TV or the fridge. You're a monster. But again, being the parents are going, oh, you don't like that? Or do you want to go outside and with us? We're going to go outside and play. Why don't you leave me the F alone? Oh. Okay. And they walk away like, no. That's a 3-year-old that you're allowing to treat you like that and talk like, it's insane.
Yeah.
But so I'm trying to think. I watched those. Some of them are like, movies I've always meant to get to. Some were popped into my head because of the history of horror.
Yeah, one reason or another. Yeah.
And TV shows. I'm watching Evil.
That's a show Jess is going to sit down and start watching. I'll probably catch what I can of it.
I'm 3 or 4 episodes in. I think you'll like it.
Okay.
It's well done. I'm not fanatic about it, but I'm glad I'm watching it. It's something to watch until Prodigal Son starts again.
Yeah, which I am over the moon that's coming back. And I love that they have not spoiled the season finale. Not in any of the material that I'm seeing advertising for the show have they given away that last sequence from the episode, from the final episode.
Which was a heck of a whoa, didn't see that coming.
Yeah, because I remember like, holy, did that just happen?
I watched the first episode of Big Sky, which is that mini-series with Ryan Phillippe. Okay, I won't tell you anything about that. But, okay. Talk about a show that is motivated by the current world we live in.
Okay.
I've mentioned Chicago P.D. in the past.
Yes.
I've told you, get on board with that as soon as humanly possible. If I can strap you to a chair today and have you start from the beginning, it is an excellent show that I've gone on about how it hooks you. Now, again.
Oh, yeah, no, you've that is on my watch list.
Please get watching it. So, last season wasn't so great because it got cut short because of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Long story short, the black cop on a previous episode had been treated unfairly by another white cop. Mm-hmm. Now, Chicago PD is about a task force of 7-ish people. One of them is a black guy. Atwater is his name, I believe. Well, in a previous episode that was a side story, he got pulled over, and these cops end up pulling him and his friend over, shooting his friend. Mm-hmm. Atwater causes a stink saying, hey, we didn't deserve to be pulled over. We didn't need to be yanked out of the car. And my friend, just because he got mouthy, you shot him. And he's dead. So.
Well, I mean, that's very relevant to
buckle up.
A lot of stuff going on, yeah.
So then at the end of last season, that cop shows up and they're put on a team together for just a mission. Like he's not the bigoted guy isn't part of the task force, but in conjunction they have to ride along.
Yeah, they're working towards a common goal.
And he goes, "I'm sorry, you're a good guy. I shouldn't have treated you like that." And Atwater's like, okay, all right, sure. And they start to get kind of nice to each other. At the end of the day, they're driving home. Let me give you a ride home. Hey, look at this guy. See this guy? Some black guy walking down the street carrying like a gym bag, like the long.
Yeah.
And now they're out of uniform. Yo, hey, stop talking. Get over here. What? Stop walking. Gets out of his car, chases him. He goes, I'm a cop. You don't disobey me. Atwater's going, whoa, what are you doing? You have no probable cause. Chases the guy inside a house or a building, apartment. You hear bang, bang, bang. Atwater runs in. That kid was dead, and the bigoted guy was shot and dying.
Oh, wow.
He had two friends inside who, by the way, drug dealers. Turns out they were drug dealers, but they had no probable cause to go after these guys.
Nope.
So despite the fact that these guys were bad guys, there was no reason to hassle them.
Yeah.
So the racist cop dies.
Yeah.
They do this big funeral, our poor cop in blue.
Mm-hmm.
And Atwater goes, we're not celebrating this guy. It needs to be on the record in the report that he had no reason to go after them. So wait, you want the report to say that these guys shot back in self-defense? You say whatever it is, I'm just telling you the facts. They warn him, the higher-ups go, are you sure you want this?
Mm-hmm.
He goes, yeah, because it's the right thing. All high and mighty, thinking he's right.
Yeah. He
He's
is right.
But he's not doing necessarily the smart thing, because what happens is they give him a chance and they go, you might want to backpedal on this. This is going to be bad. Why? Because he went against the blue wall. And they bring it up because Voight, who's the head of the task force, meets with the guy from the different precinct who goes, your boy went against us. What do you mean? He went against, the blue wall, which means you do not rat on a fellow cop.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what he does. This guy who died had a wife, 2 kids, and now it's on the record that he was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So now, they're going to be sued or whatever is going to happen. Well, there's only been 2 episodes so far of this season. And now they're making us wait until January to see the 3rd episode.
Right.
It is so good and so of the time and political without being soapboxy.
Mm-hmm.
It's because Voight is a cop who does the wrong thing for the right reason. He has a suspect that he knows did something wrong and he's not talking. Bring him down to the cage. They bring him down to the basement where there's no cameras, tie him to a cage and kick the living crap out of him until he tells the truth.
Right.
Well, in the PC world that we're living in, you don't get to keep your job if you get caught.
Right.
Right? But there's no cameras. Well, the new head of police, whatever they call her, is a black woman who comes in and tells Voight, I know about your record. We're being scrutinized because the cops have a bad reputation in Chicago. Your crap ends today. You can't do that. So Voight is trying to do the right thing. Meanwhile, Atwater is now having all the cops in uniform because he's a detective and he's plainclothes task force.
Yeah.
They call for backup. We have a suspect shooting at us. We need backup. No units available. What? No units. They're not coming to help.
Hmm.
Because it's him, they are not coming. So his partner gets shot because there's no cops. And they bug him. They plant drugs in his car. They bug his house. They're after him, all because he bad-mouthed. And it's great because Voight is going, I want to help you, dude, but like I'm here for you with whatever you need. And Atwater's going, nope, I'll handle it on my own. Okay, well, if you want these guys to back off, you either have to change your story or retire. Like, not even retire, you have to quit. Stop being a cop. It's great because you got, besides whatever the story of the day is, you have that tension all the time. I mean, Atwater's probably going to end up dead because somebody's going to shoot him. Oh, he goes home and there's a guy sitting as he gets out of his car, there's a guy a couple doors down leaning against the car with the flashlight going, flash, flash. He goes, what the heck is that? All of a sudden, out of nowhere come these masked guys that beat the living crap out of him in the middle of the street. They don't talk.
They don't say anything.
They say nothing. You can't tell who they are, but they beat the living crap out of him and they drive away. They beat him to be unconscious. But he can't. What's he going to do? Complain? File a complaint? Prove it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Oh, it's of the time.
Sounds wild, yeah.
But like I said, any episode that you watch is going to hook you and you're going to want to see where it goes. So that's when we were talking about the political climate and everything before. I'm like, ooh, got to make sure I mention that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic because that is the show that they were worried, boy, with the pandemic and the way that the world's been. I don't know if Chicago PD can come back as Voight. Is he going to be forced off the show? No. They make it a writing opportunity.
Oh, yeah. And that's smart. Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, a goofy comedy show.
Sure.
They have had several episodes where they touch on things.
Mm-hmm.
One of the episodes, Terry Crews, he's a police sergeant.
Oh.
And he ran out to his car to get a toy for his child or for his daughters. And he's off duty. He's literally outside his own house. White beat cop treats him as if he's a suspect. And I mean, Terry Crews is not a
small man. Yeah.
I mean, he would make anyone feel tiny.
Right. Yeah.
But, and he's, being a black man, he had to comply, and it was he, in that episode, when he was at work the next day, it was that moment where, one of the people are like, are you okay? And he's like, no, I'm not okay. And he like got very impassionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear some of the other characters that are of color chime in, and, you have that that honest, genuine discussion about, race. And it was just very well done. And Terry Crews and a couple of the other actors had actually come out and said, with the way the world is right now, it is our responsibility to, have these discussions on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So with everything that has gone on this year, we're going to probably see a little bit more of that peppered in with the upcoming season. So, I mean, that's responsible TV writing.
And
it kind of reminds me, if you remember, it harkens back to Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. These shows all had moments. I think Cosby Show even had it. They had moments in the show where they had that frank discussion about these topics.
Well, I told you we're watching Coach, and Coach, as funny as it is, can, just like Mad About You and anything else, there's such skill to, without it feeling like a sledgehammer, naturally make that conversation deal with heavy topics. And not be so heavy that you lose sight of what enjoying the show.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But we're watching Coach, and one of the players comes out and says that he's gay. And Coach is a cliche meathead.
Yeah.
You know, but he's like, oh, what? And then through a big chunk of it, he's uncomfortable, and he admits it. I don't feel comfortable about this. I don't know why, but
yeah,
you know,
and that was an honest response. It's like, I don't know why, I just don't feel comfortable with it. You know,
and in the end, one of the funniest clips was the guy goes, "Fine, then I quit. I'm not going to play football for you," and he goes. You know, he talks it over and he feels bad. And he goes to the bar to talk to him to try and talk him back into, you know, he goes, I have to explain to you, I'm from a certain generation where this is new to us. And I have no problem with you personally, but I don't know how to deal with your sexuality. And he's talking about all these great players that he had in the past that were men's men. And well, while he's giving this heartfelt conversation, two of the guys get up in the back and start dancing with each other. And he's, you know, I have no problem with you. I want you to come back. And, you know, how do they know which one leads? You know, and it's great because it's not done in a pointy, look at them. Yeah, he's the idiot. They play it where he is the unintentional moron in this situation, and in the end, he's getting up to it. Goes, all right, well, I'll see you. I'm glad we fixed this. You know, I'll see you on Monday. And he looks, and the two guys that were dancing were the two macho football players that he had years before that he was talking about.
Yeah,
he's like, what are you guys doing here? I thought you knew. No, I didn't know. You know, so you got the great balance of humor, but also let's talk about this situation. I love it. It's fantastic, and it'll make you cry because Craig T. Nelson started as a stand-up comic. I didn't know that. Great dramatic actor, though. Like, he gives these soliloquy speeches. In certain episodes that you go, wow. He feels. Well,
Mark Harmon. He got his career start in comedies.
Yeah, he did.
And he plays Gibbs, and he has these great character moments. You know, this, you know, for lack to borrow the phrase, a man's man. You know, he's the, you know, expectation of what men are supposed to be.
Strong and silent.
Strong and silent, but you know, I had to laugh as the show's going on. Yeah, he's a strong and silent character, but if you pay attention, there's heart, there's emotion, there's
right. And when you can make that pay off, oh boy, it's beautiful.
But yeah, I mean that's wild. But yeah, all right. So you've been catching up on some shows and stuff, is what you've been doing.
And I know I'm gonna miss some because I was thinking, I got to tell him about this that I saw or that I saw. Like I said, Longmire. I'm thinking of you. I started watching Evil. There's others on my. Oh, last night finally, Cindy and I started season 2 of Iron Fist.
Okay. Cool.
I have a problem so far with, and you've already seen it, so I can tell you.
Yeah.
With the sister becoming so bad all of a sudden. Again, it's one episode in. I'm like, whoa. She was the soft, innocent one.
Yeah.
Why did she turn?
Weird. Yeah, there's some weird shit going on there.
And his buddy, who was supposed to be noble, and I understand you're jealous because you're not the Iron Fist. That could stay. But you're a drug dealer now?
Yeah.
Like, whoa, where's the noble? Where did that go?
There was some weirdness. I mean, the second season, I think, was a bit stronger because they had the time to actually not force things.
Right.
Like the first season, I'm still convinced the only reason it was as bad as it was is because they needed to get through it to get to Defenders. And
I liked the first season, but he was a whiny little punk.
Yeah. That should have been something we saw in flashbacks.
Yeah.
Not, you know, while he is the Iron Fist, you know. But all right, so stuff that I've been doing. I've been, you know, slowly but surely just working on stuff around here at the house.
Mm-hmm.
Last weekend I was crawling around in the attic, which, by the way, whoever the architect was that designed this house, I want to punch in the throat.
Welcome to my world.
Because the house, you know, you've been here, the house is set up like an L. If you look at the house from the ground or from the sky down,
yep,
it's long and it's got a little foot sticking out. That's where the bedroom is. Well, the way the roof line is, you know, you've got the rafters that are 16 inches apart, and they go towards the floor or the ceiling joists.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're putting insulation in the ceiling, in the ground of the attic. So, I had to crawl on my hands and knees across the unprotected roof or the unprotected joists because there's no walk space over there. So I got to drag the insulation, place it, finagle around so that I'm not taking a bath in freaking Owens Corning insulation fibers and stuff. We got half the attic done, and I looked at Jess. I'm like, I need to go downstairs. I need to take a break. No.
Yeah.
I was already starting to hurt. Monday and Tuesday this week, I'm dying, just physically hurting. Well, then I realized, well, shit, with it getting colder, I got to do the other half. So that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow.
So are you doing what we did with our attic where we actually had to put flooring down?
No, we have, there's a walk space up there that's probably about 8 feet that runs the entire length of the house.
Okay.
So I'm not putting insulation where that sits.
Oh.
Because the insulation underneath that's pretty thick yet. But what I'm doing is I'm taking insulation and I'm actually laying it over the rafters to double up the insulation that's already there. Because the insulation was that blown in stuff. And there are some areas where it's low and some areas where it's still pretty full. But this way it just balances it out.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing that. And that's rough. I mean, because you're crawling over, dragging stuff and sweating your butt off. And But yeah, so we're doing that tomorrow. Stuff that we've been watching, October we watched Halloween stuff. Jess and I finally got to catch up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the 6th season and the 7th season. With the way it ended, it ended okay. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that, the idiots in charge of Marvel TV decided, we're going to let you guys be connected for like 2-3 seasons, but after that, nah, we're good.
Right.
It's like, no.
That's laziness.
Yeah,
that's dropping such a major opportunity.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was an ending. It was an okay ending. It wasn't that great.
So I'm glad I didn't waste my time.
Yeah. I mean, if you get the chance to check it out, it's not worth it, or it's not bad, but it's not something you need to rush for. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if you caught up on everything, you're like, you know what? Yeah, I could, you can go back and watch it. I watched The Order. It was a Netflix series.
Okay. Oh, wait. The Order. Tell me about it.
Magical Society.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't see it.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's a bummer that it got canceled. But the executive producer kind of teased at what the 3rd season would have been. It was interesting how they approached the mythology and everything around werewolves and magic users and everything. I thought it was pretty cool. It was pretty decent. And it's got Catherine Isabel in it. And I mean, I'll give anything with her in it a shot. I mean, she's a good looking woman.
I don't know who that is, but I'll have to look it up.
She was in Ginger Snaps.
Oh. She's from... Okay. If this is who I'm thinking of, I know exactly who that is. She's a Twitter, Facebook friend because she was on MacGyver.
Yes.
More than likely. She was on the Madonna episode.
I believe so, yes.
Catherine
Isabel.
Yeah, that's her. Yeah, when she was a little girl, she's always stayed near and dear to my heart because of that episode, which we watch every Christmas time. She's the little girl who gives MacGyver the Christmas gift, and then he tells her about ice cream later on.
Yeah.
The secret word. Yeah. Yep. So ever since then, I'm like, oh, her. She was in Freddy versus Jason, too.
Yeah. Yeah, she's done a lot of horror films and stuff, which
they interview her on that History of Horror.
Very cool. I'll have to check that out then.
You'll love that.
But yeah, so I watched that, and it was pretty good. I'm bummed that it didn't get a 3rd season because it was one of those. They would have theoretically been probably filming it right now.
Sure.
But pandemic, is what it is currently. So did that. I'd finally got Jess to sit down and watch Psych.
Oh, well, there you go.
And she enjoyed it. She's like, okay, now I understand some of the random crap that you just spew sometimes because I'll like throughout the I've heard it both ways, or you know,
I do that.
Show. It's goofy, it's fun,
and
but
it's safe that you, no matter what episode you watch, you're always going to be fine. You don't have to.
Yeah.
I'm all caught up. We watched the second movie, Lassie Come Home.
Yeah, we saw that, and Jess was blown away by that because we finished it. We finished the series. We watched the first movie, and it was like the next weekend that came out, and I really loved that film. It was nice to see a little bit more back history for Lassiter, and just it was good. And I like the fact that the actor was comfortable with going back and doing a story revolving around his character having had a stroke.
Yep.
Because he's not as bad as Lassiter was in that film.
Right.
But, you know, he does have trouble with his one arm.
Yeah, he doesn't move it.
Yeah, he doesn't move it. And there are times, I think, where he said he does need to take a moment to catch his breath when he's walking and stuff. But he's actually a lot further along with the road to recovery than that film would imply. But, yeah, like, and it was funny, like, watching that film or watching that series, there are moments in it that just hit you emotionally.
No, they do that on the whole series. Like there are certain episodes.
Oh yeah,
where it's the end of the episode. And you're like, oh, it's so sweet.
Yeah, like the end of the season where Sean's dad gets shot. That you know that just hits you in the heart and the gut because it's like, oh my god. And then I believe it was that following season when Lassiter was demoted to a patrolman and he finds out about his kid. And it's that, well, you know, I don't want to die. And it's like, near the end of the episode, he's like, what did you just say? You're going to take me away from my son? Oh, no. And it's that reverse of it where you see him come back from that brink of despair because he doesn't want to be, you know, he doesn't want to be in that situation where he could be taken from his kid.
I always say with Psych, it's a great show to watch, but it's unrealistic if you had to deal with Sean. Because the one flaw that they have is they never have Sean be un-Sean. He's always obnoxious, which for you and I, it's hilarious to watch it. It's great. Oh, he's going to say something zany. Oh, here's a one-liner. I'm going to quote that. In reality, though, you would punch him
that character
in his
would be
face.
That character would be so freaking.
He's
great.
exhausting. He's exhausting. Yeah, you just be like, oh,
and
Sean.
And it is nice that you see glimpses of it throughout the series. You see and it's sometimes subtle where it's just like somebody will see him coming and then start out of the sequence.
I don't blame them because you just go, even though you're a good guy, shut up. Just shut up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? But that's here nor there. It is still a great series, and I love that they're still doing movies because James Roday has a new show. Yep. He doesn't have to do these, but they love each other so much that they keep making them.
Absolutely, yeah. So got just to sit down, go through that. I got to finally finish watching Burn Notice again for like the 20th time or whatever.
Sure.
MacGyver if he wasn't.
See, I don't buy that. I've watched Burn Notice. I'm like, I don't see it.
I would consider him MacGyver if MacGyver didn't have the qualms about guns and had gone and believed in the spycraft cause.
And also, like, the guy of Burnt Notice is very, not only is he dry, but he's a killer. Like, you have to kill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so morally, actually, it's funny to hear, because I remember you saying that originally when Burn Notice started or whatever. And I'm thinking, boy, the days when it wasn't so offensive as the not MacGyver. You know what I mean? Like, now we live in a world where you holy crap.
Now you would take, 20 seasons of Burn Notice over another season of faux MacGyver. Yeah.
Over another episode of not MacGyver. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and it's interesting I think it was just because I was a little bit more paying attention to the stories and stuff. The guy that played Michael Weston in Burn Notice, there are scenes where you can see, the character going through just mental exhaustion, mental pain. Like in one of the episodes, they had his mother helping try to work over somebody to get information. And he had to yell at his mother as if she was just this like pissant of a person.
Mm-hmm.
And like you could tell by the actor's body language and everything, the pain and the just hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it was all subtle. And I ended up looking online. Some of the emotions and everything that he pulled through for that character were from his childhood because, you know, the Michael Weston character had a father that was just vile, abusive, yelling, you know, would backhand his mother just because, you know, he didn't want to hit the kid and leave a mark to have the kid go to school and have to try to explain, you know, just as heinous of a vile human being. And then to see the character having to kind of slip into his father's skin, so to speak, to help get them that information for the client, and it was just very interesting. One of the next shows that I'm going to go through my bi-yearly rewatch or whatever, because I don't watch the same shows year after year after year. I let them drift a little bit, is Leverage. And that's actually going to be twofold because they're apparently filming a continuation of Leverage.
Cool.
So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Hey, listen.
But so yeah, got that. Started watching the current season of The Curse of Oak Island.
Any good?
It's a slow burn show because they're trying to find, you know, proof of gold and treasure.
I did see part of that. Okay, yes.
And I will say the pandemic was probably the best thing that happened for The Curse of Oak Island because this season, I haven't noticed it yet, is they don't do that 5-minute rewind after the commercial breaks like they have the previous 7 seasons. And I was telling my buddy Royce earlier, I'm like, it must be nice to have that kind of money that you could take a private jet from Minnesota to freaking Canada.
Right.
Once their travel visas and everything were squared away, because being in a pandemic, they couldn't start in April like they were used to. They had to wait 4 months. So you're talking late June, early July. Actually, wait, April, May, June. Yeah, July, maybe even August for them to start doing anything. And it's very interesting to see what kind of filler this season's going to have. Been watching Star Trek Discovery. Loving this season.
I'm a couple episodes into Picard.
Picard was phenomenal.
Okay, I'm enjoying that. Which means I can't go back and watch Next Generation now. Because it's filmed. I mean, I wasn't crazy about it to begin with.
Right.
But now when you see the difference in the dynamics of filming and character development, and then you go back to the 1 or 2 camera angles on a stage. It doesn't hold
it's
up.
rough going back and watching older stuff now.
Yeah.
Once you get so acclimated to things now. Picard was good. Lower Decks was fun.
I watched one episode.
Yeah,
you told me to try it.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that they have like nice little peppered in nods to everything and whatnot. That series actually takes place right around the same time frame as Picard does.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because in the last episode, there's a cameo of not 1, but 2 Star Trek Picard actors. Well, actor and actors. But yeah, I mean, I watched it. It was something fun. Just kind of shut the brain off and laugh and giggle at some of the stupid stuff. But I loved watching the peppered in Easter eggs. That was really cool.
I wanted to tell you before I forget, talk about movies. David Desmalchin gave me a couple movie suggestions.
Oh, okay.
He said, check out Host. It's a Shudder original, and I watched it right away. It's a really quick movie, and it was filmed in July during the pandemic. It's people stuck at home, these friends talking like we are, and they decide, all right, these 5 friends are gonna do like a seance. Yeah, I paid for it. We're gonna have fun, but you have to be respectful. This woman is a friend of a friend who's gonna do this for us. She's like tarot card reader, and they're talking, and it's paranormal activity kind of shenanigans through Zoom. They actually showed her come in, dial Zoom, thing pops up, they clicks a new meeting, does the whole thing. And it's shot through your computer.
Very cool.
It's a quick, short movie that it has a great payoff. That was one of the ones that he recommended, and I highly recommend it.
All right, I'll have to let Jess know that because she paid for Shudder.
It's called Host.
Host, okay. But yeah, let's see what else. We ended up watching because pandemic movie theaters aren't necessarily a thing right now. We watched The Invisible Man, the more recent.
Saw it?
I was pleasantly surprised by it.
Me too.
And the restaurant scene.
I was just about to say the knife. Yeah,
was one of the scenes on that list because it was one of those what just happened,
Yep.
But yeah, we watched that. I thought I rented, but I ended up accidentally buying it. Bad Boys for Life.
Any good? I love the second one.
It was good. They set it up so that if they wanted to keep going with it, they could.
Sure.
But I think, it was a nice kind of end to it.
Sure.
It's one of those, there's one scene in it that just kind of like hit me in the heart because I don't want to go into details because
Right.
spoil it for you.
But I should watch it, is what you're saying?
Yeah, check it out because it feels like a continuation of the Bad Boys movies.
Sure.
And they deal with a younger crew coming in to try to do what they do and all that stuff. And there's funny banter that younger people might not necessarily get, but we're gonna get. I got Jess to sit down and watch Bill and Ted.
Any good?
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh.
The Bogus Journey, which she's like, that movie was dumb and absurd. I'm like, yeah, but I'd rather you watch both films before we see the third one and not potentially miss something. And it's a good thing because one of the characters from that movie and a couple references were made in Face the Music. It was fun. It's kind of funny because you can tell the actors were trying to play dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a cute film. It's one of those that, okay, that trilogy is done. They don't need to revisit it or anything. But it was one of those, there were a couple moments in the movie where I'm like, okay, they might be having Bill and Ted go a certain route. And if they do, that's going to end up changing everyone's opinion on the type of people Bill and Ted are.
Sure.
But it was a fun, cute movie. Good kid movie, kid friendly. They do have George Carlin make a cameo, and it's a very nice way they do it.
Cool.
And they named the character that they're interacting with after George Carlin's daughter, and this character is supposed to be Rufus's daughter. So it's
cool.
a nice tying it together type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was a good movie. You might recognize some of the faces in it because I think the two girls that play their daughters have been in a fair amount of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so there's that. I'm trying to think.
What about reading? Have you read any good comics lately?
I am behind on comics just because I've been tied up with doing stuff.
Sure.
You probably saw I built a pantry for Jess.
No, I missed that.
Yeah, on Facebook, this was months ago. I posted photos of I built shelves in our stairwell.
Oh, okay, yes, I did.
Yeah,
I thought that was in the basement.
No, that's on the way to. It's the stairwell to the basement. There's that ledge. I built shelves there for her. I built a potting bench for Jess out of totally reclaimed wood, which was pretty cool.
You just want to play Ghost.
And let's see, what else did I do? I got.
Or am I thinking of? You're talking about the spinning wheel, or no? Potting.
No.
Oh, never mind. That my joke.
No, potting plant. A bench to put. Plants.
Completely different than what I.
You're thinking of pottery wheel.
Yes.
I don't have the mechanical engineering know-how to get that freaking thing to spin. And
right. That's why I said you're going to be Patrick.
Plus that deals with clay and
who needs
water,
that crap?
Don't need that mess. Finally got rid of some of the garbage that was in our backyard. You probably remember hearing me complain about a giant freaking tire that was left in our backyard.
Yep.
Got rid of that thing. The branch that
you didn't burn it, did you?
No. We my dad was taking a load of stuff to the landfill, and I loaded it in the back, and got it to the landfill, rolled it over to the container that they put the tires in because they like mulch them or whatever, and then probably recycle them into tires or asphalt or who the hell knows.
Yeah.
Had relocated our fire pit, just stuff around the house, trying to be busy, trying to just do things. The next big project is getting our freaking windows replaced.
Yep.
And having the house upgraded from 100 amp service to 200 amp service.
I remember that.
Then I can finally start cracking at my freaking basement. But yeah.
But hey, listen, you're much better off this year than you were 2 years ago when you weren't able to put up certain decorations. And
oh God, yeah. And I have to laugh. Every now and then, Jess and I are like, don't have to worry about an HOA.
That's right. Mikey came to me after listening to one of our previous conversations. He comes to me and goes, they're not allowed to put up certain things. I said, well, not where they live. That's why they got the heck out of there, because there's that community rule where they get to be bullies. Yep. And, you know. Ugh.
Yeah. So it's ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And I had to laugh. Every now and then, when it's nice weather outside during the summer and whatnot, I'd go out for a walk. Jess and we walked more this year. I feel like we have in the past previous couple of years, just because what are you going to do?
Right.
She ran, 6 5Ks this year already, or so
Good
far.
For her.
So,
Good
and
for
she
her.
constantly, like most people who are uncertain about their physical appearance, she often thinks that she's overweight and fat. And it's like, no, you're not. I can put my freaking arms around your waist and touch past my elbows. You're not fat. I told her, I'm constantly telling her, I said, no, you may have weight on you, but it's a healthy amount. It's not like you're,
right.
Jabba the Hutt, So, but yeah.
Oh, all right. I know there's things that we're missing.
I was going to say, I know there's other stuff we were going to
So many things.
Two quick things. I got into playing D&D.
Okay.
Every Monday I've been playing D&D with a group of friends, and I'm playing a character that has been a joy to play because he's a warlock, and warlocks are supposed to be these heavy hitter type characters. But the caveat is my character only has memory of up to 3 years prior because of something that happened. Now, I know what happened. The DM knows what happened, but no one else does. So it's been fun playing like, okay, where are we going to drop a seed of his history?
Yeah.
But one of the things the DM does is at the end of each session, everybody gives out 2 points for a neat and cool, something that someone did that was really cool, or something that was very RP heavy. Like they got into character, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my character, there are a couple things that I've done that have been very into character and just very heartfelt and very, just, wow, we can really see your character coming through in the way you did this or did that. But then there are other moments where it's like, my character accidentally botched throwing a fireball and lit half the party on fire. And I've quipped, I'm just building your fire resistance. That's all, and that's gotten me like, okay, that was a clever way of in character handling the oops,
Sure.
But this last session we did on Monday, we were in a situation where we were trying to sneak into an area, and the rogue and the druid succeeded masterfully. And I have a tendency to botch my stealth rolls. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to try for stealth. This guard that I'm supposed to take care of, I'm just going to hit him with a spell. I'm like, okay, well, I can't use fire because we're underwater, and we all have spells that are giving us the ability to breathe underwater. I'm like, okay, this one basically is a glorified force push. This does this, and I'm like, most of my spells deal fire damage just because that's the way I have them lined up. Well, wait a minute, I've got shatter. Well, the last time I used shatter and I cast it in the guy's head. Like that's the focal point. I'm like, well, if I do that's likely going to explode the character's head. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to kill. I want to disable.
Hmm.
So I sent the DM a message because we're all doing this through Zoom, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I said, is it possible that I could cast Shatter and cast it in the air in his lungs? He's like, okay, you're going to need to roll for it. I'm like, okay, I rolled. He's like, okay, spell goes off without a hitch. Roll for damage. Have you ever done this at a pool where you plug one of the air jet and then you pull your hand back real back and there's that force of bubbles?
Yeah.
That's what he described. And then at the end of the session, a couple people were like, that was very neat, very cool how you handled that, and very in character, because the way the character is, unless you're an immediate threat to him or the other party members, I tried to disable without killing.
Good.
And they're like, that was beautifully, masterfully done. So that's something that's been fun that I've been able to get back into.
Yeah, they're coming out with the Stargate new Stargate role playing.
I'm excited for it.
Me too.
I'm hoping to see this spark more Star Trek or Stargate stuff because we need it.
Because our friends, I told you, Tim and Ashley, that when there wasn't the pandemic, we would go over every couple weekends or whatever. Well, he's big into that. And I tried to get them to, because I have the book, the original, right? Couldn't get off the ground because Ashley was just, I want to be Tolan. No, not Tolan. What?
Tok'ra?
Tok'ra. I want to be a Tok'ra. I want to be a Tok'ra that's sexy and she wears a thing. We're like, we're not there yet. Just make your character. Well, long story short, it was too complicated for them to get going. We're hoping with this new one that we could finally, because I want to be able to do that too.
And that's the thing with some of these role playing games. The rules are complicated. Now I have noticed that most of them, they're suggestions. If you don't like a rule, don't apply it.
Right.
You know. That's like the thing that the DM does. Part of the reason we do the DM in this D&D group, the points that we get at the end of each session, we can save up and use for extraordinary things. Like about a month and a half ago, we were in a situation where we were battling the avatar of the god of death.
Well, that can't be good.
No, it's not good. And we're all like, oh, great. We're all these like little single-digit level characters, and we're going up against a literal god. So, we're going toe-to-toe to it, and some of us are using these points to do extraordinary things.
Mm-hmm.
I used every single spell, or every single point I had, because I'd used up my 2 spell slots, because that's just my allotment in life. I'd used up my major hitting spells. So I'm like, well, shoot, what am I going to do? I said, wait, we can use these points to do stuff that's really cool, right? He goes, yeah. I said, okay, what would I need to spend to cast the highest level spell in the book and use a spell slot that I technically do not have? He's like, well, how many points do you have? I said, I got 29. He goes, okay, we'll do that. He goes, but after you're done, you have to roll a Constitution save, basically to see if your body survives using something that, 1, it's not capable of yet, and 2, using a spell slot that you technically don't have. I'm like, okay. I did a hell of a lot of damage to this thing that the next 2 people that hit it were able to drop it, but I almost died in the process.
Whoops.
My character almost died in the process. Fortunately, they managed to bring me back from the brink of death, but it was just like, oh my God, my character could have bit it trying to save the day, again, because it was an immediate threat to his people.
Sure.
But yeah, the other thing that I dabbled with a little bit was, I'm sure you've probably seen it or heard of it, a game called Among Us.
Is there a second one?
No, that's The Last of Us.
There it is.
But Among Us is a game where you've got a group of people working collectively towards a common goal.
Sure.
Except there's one person whose job is to sabotage and pick off these other characters.
Oh, jeez.
So it's just comical. We started the pandemic with Animal Crossing, where you're community working together, blah blah blah, to basically a video game version of The Thing.
Nice. I gotta have the kids see The Thing when I think it's okay.
And from what I understand, the movie that came out the other year called The Thing,
right,
was a companion film to explain away some of the things that happened previously to that.
Okay, I have to see that one.
That's one I got to check out too. But yeah, so I mean, that's some of the things that I've been working on aside from.
Well, the other thing before we go, I just want to tell you, it seems like everybody is getting into the Christmas spirit a lot sooner, since right after Halloween.
Yeah.
And after the year we've had,
you know what?
Nobody's griping at all. Because normally I'd be like, hey, you don't put out anything for Christmas until after Thanksgiving. But you know what? After this year, who gives a flying, like we have our Christmas lights outside. They're not lit, but they're on. And I brought up the tree, or they brought up the tree, and I put it together. It's here. It's not decorated yet.
Yeah.
But let's get rolling. We don't get to go anywhere to celebrate Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah.
And as I'm walking through the neighborhood, it warms my heart to see all the Christmas. There's so many houses have Christmas trees in the window. Lit.
Oh yeah, I've noticed
lit.
a couple of. Yeah, I've seen a couple people decorating. Like, there's an elderly couple on the street behind us, all the way towards the road, or the main road, where they decorate every holiday.
Sure.
Well, they've got like really nice Thanksgiving stuff out, and I remember joking to my dad after we went on errand. He had me help him with errands. He goes, "How soon after Thanksgiving do you think they'll be decorating for Christmas?" I said, "Probably that weekend, because they usually always try to have something, you know." But I was telling Jess back in September, I said, if decorating for Halloween is that one little spark of joy that you enjoy, definitely this year, go for it. So, Jess and I decorated around the house, and I waited until October 1st to put the outside decorations up.
Sure.
Now we're a bit slow to put the decorations away, which is always the case.
Well, when we're walking by, and I happen to catch one of the neighbors down the block or whatever putting out candy canes and along the sidewalk, and I said, "You know what? After the year we've had, which seems to be the theme of this episode," he goes, "I hear you, brother. That's why I'm doing it." I said, "Okay, more power to you." And it was just a nice, let's all celebrate and just be happy. And it's so funny, and like I said, so heartwarming to feel heartwarmed again.
Yeah.
Right?
There's something nice about it.
It's just, let's just be happy. Let's stop griping at each other and just celebrate the happiness of community.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to doing stuff for Christmas again. It's just, we need good things to look forward to. Like, admittedly, there's a couple things this year that happened that, I'm bummed about. Like, this nonsense with the video game consoles that just got released earlier this month.
I don't know anything
People
about it.
are acting like a-holes.
Oh, the new
they're
ones?
buying them up.
Yeah.
What's that?
They're saying they came up with a new PlayStation or an Xbox.
Oh, yeah, there's a PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X.
I'm done.
I'd love to get the Series X because, I like to play video games. It's my outlet for, relax. Can't buy them because, the supplies are that limited, but these a-holes are buying them up left and right and then throwing them on Amazon, throwing them on eBay for like $2,000, $3,000. My friend saw one was going online for $5,000. You are an a-hole, and I hope you never sell that thing.
Right.
But this year's been especially rough for me because I lost 2 aunts and I lost a cousin.
You lost 2 aunts and what?
And a cousin.
Oh, sheesh. Because of the pandemic or just life? One
we think she gave up.
Okay.
She was just I think honestly with everything that was happening at the beginning of the pandemic, she gave up. My cousin that had passed away, he died because of a heart attack. And that wouldn't hit really close to home because he wasn't that much older than me. He was a little bit younger than my brother, so he's about halfway between my brother and my age. And I know my brother took it really hard because growing up, the two of them were thick as thieves, you know.
Sure.
And then my aunt had passed away due to complications associated with COVID. And that one was rough.
Well, sure.
I mean, my mom was upset because they'd taken her to a assisted living home. And, you know, assisted living homes right now, you know, they're just a petri dish for everything.
Yeah, they are.
And my niece actually works at that particular facility. And even she was upset that, you know, my aunt was there, and she'd actually said something to my mom like, well, is there anything you can do? And unfortunately, my mom didn't have power of attorney. So there was nothing she could do.
Sure.
So, but it's rough, and it sucks. And, you know, it just, that, thankfully, you know, a week or two after that had happened, we got the good news of, you know, the election.
Thank God. Thank you, God.
So, yeah, I mean, hopefully 2020 doesn't end like an a-hole with, you know, one last major F you to everybody. But like I said earlier, I feel like there's just been the shift in energy that we are starting to see good things.
And I love that Biden is not replying to him at all. He doesn't mention him, and he's done more. He's done more already without even being in office.
Yep. Oh, and the fact that he apparently saw the writing on the wall beforehand and planned on him not conceding and, you know, blocking their access every which way. And, you know, that says a lot about how prepared he really is to lead.
Exactly. And I hope that, well, already, you know, the vice president is going to do more than the previous vice president.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I had to laugh. Like,
people.
I wasn't too crazy about Kamala Harris, not because, you know, of, you know, her being a woman of color or anything. I didn't agree with her policies in regards to, like, prison. But I'd seen an interview where she actually came out and said that her previous stances on prison were wrong. And I'm like, you know what?
There you go.
Right there, you showed that you are a better person than most politicians.
That's right.
You admitted that you were wrong.
And guess what? You could change your mind.
Yep. And even Obama and Biden had similar things where, like, Obama had no real stance on legalizing gay marriage, but it ended up.
I remember that.
It crossed his table or crossed his desk during his presidency, and he signed off on it. And you know what? I can respect that.
That's right. Everybody's so quick to hate. I can't, you know, which is why Cindy and I would watch, you know, all the election stuff, and even during like their time on stage, given their acceptance speech and everything, we said, look they like each other. Like, you actually can tell Kamala and Joe like each other. They're friends. Like, he's, you know, call each other up or just say, give it a little pat. I love that. That's how we're supposed to be.
Yeah. That there was something else that I wanted to mention. I also helped put a roof on my mom and dad's house. They're potentially getting solar panels, and they needed to replace part of the roof. So Dad's like, why don't we just replace the part that needs replaced and just re-shingle the whole roof, since we're got to pull up the shingles anyway.
Sure.
Like, okay, why not? So the Thursday after the election, I'm on a roof, you know, worried beyond get out that, you know, the election results are going to go the way that they appeared that they were going to go, you know. So it's just like, but
all
yeah.
right. Listen, I know.
I think we've gilded the lily enough.
Well, I don't know what you're doing to a lily, but I you know, I know I'm going to regret that I didn't mention X, Y, and Z. But for the love of God, stop waiting so long. I've missed talking to you, and it's been months and months and months, and I'm like, gee, you know, I think I don't want to pester him, but we got to get chatting.
Yeah.
You know, guests or not, I still want to check in with you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, everybody, listen. We're packing it in for now. Make sure you go to the Forever Adventure Network, where you have music and 2 podcasts and audio series, a Patreon blog,
all kinds of
Instagram,
resources.
art, Jeepers, what else do you need? Get there and support us, darn it. And we will catch you next time. And remember, as we always say, Nate,
stay excited.
There you go. Very good.
I was waiting for it.
The Never Gets Old podcast is part of the Forever Adventure Network. Music by Harmony Constant. Some artwork by Joseph Arnold and Jared Brown. Donations can be made to Patreon, to Mac Jackson. Join our group pages on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Never Gets Old Pod. Please subscribe, rate, and review. And remember, stay excited, everyone. The Forever Adventure Network. Welcome to the adventure.
Hi, this is Amara from the Always Podcast. I want to make sure you know about another awesome show, the MacGyver SG-1 audio series.
His eyes darted over to Jack's weapon. Sam, start taking all the gunpowder out of these bullets. He stunned Jack by taking the gun from his hands, and with one swift motion released the clip, discharging the bullets in the chamber before handing the empty gun back to the general.
It's written, edited, and performed by Mac Jackson of the MacGyver Podcast. He's bringing together the worlds of MacGyver and Stargate to bring us all new and ongoing adventures.
For some reason, something caused both Jack and MacGyver to glance up at the second-floor office window that hung over the large storage hangar. It was a shadow of a moving figure, a figure who now was staring down at them. Before they could say anything or move, the man ran over to the railing and opened fire on them. In that moment, they each knew they were about to be riddled with bullets.
Get into the epic story and hear how brothers Mac and Jack work together.
Suddenly, he spun on his heels to his brother. Jack, give me your phone. The general quickly took it from his pocket and handed it over. Yeah, it isn't working, you know. No, not as a phone. With that, MacGyver knelt down and smashed Jack's cell phone off the ground and cracked it open. As he pried it apart and reached for his knife, Jack stood stunned. That's my phone.
And how they disagree.
As he turned the engine off, he rechecked the inside of his pocket and pulled out his automatic handgun to check the chamber. As he verified the bullets loaded, he could see the disappointing glare of his brother in the seat next to him. What? This again? I don't like guns, Jack. Yeah, me neither. I like getting shot a lot less.
Subscribe and review today on Apple iTunes and like the Facebook page to keep up on all the latest episodes. I've been catching up on past episodes, and you don't want to miss it.